So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq. He looks like Joe the plumber. He's got his muscle shirt on. I know why he got his muscle shirt on now, because when I talked to him right before the show, he just had the nerve to try to argue with me. So I see why he got that muscle shirt on. But anyway, welcome to the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community, to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to once again say thank you to Donovan for sitting here co-host with me. And also like to say a big giant hello, welcome, and thank you to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you participants, but you are viewers rather, but you are participants, because we share the link for you to come on and briefly give your opinion or ask your question or whatever it is you want to do. Just make sure that if I have not seen you on here before, just show me your face so that I can make sure that it's no shenanigans involved. Today, we're going to be talking about new developments in the case of, I put deleted. And I want to say right off the top, I use the word deleted because YouTube and some other forums don't really like the other words that we would use, killed or murdered, anything like that. So we don't use the term deleted to be disrespectful. We use the term so that we can have a conversation. But anyway, let me go ahead and say it again. New developments in the case of deleted pregnant mother of two. And that was Takaya. I think that's how you say it, Takaya Young, out of Columbus, Ohio. And of course, I'll get into that and the new developments. And I really want to have a good conversation about it to see what it is we can do to avoid something like that from happening. So who came on here? Let's see. Moni, how you doing? Much Detroit love to you as well. You say, welcome to you both. Beautiful September. Looking for souvenirs. Oh, yeah, we did go to Japan, didn't we? I guess we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And just being jazzy podcast, crafty ideas, and chill spot. How are you doing today? And Chalk Chick, how you doing? Long time no see. Angela Reddick, what's going on with you? Monet, how are you? Black America, how you doing? And yeah, Donovan's talking about his Cowboys. I'm like, it don't sound like he's gonna be missing much. And what are they gonna do differently than they always do? Just watch the repeats, the games from last time, and he's about the same. All right, and so yeah, I'm sorry that I was a little bit late, Moni. I had to do something. Jan Michael, how are you doing? And Tracy, yes, congratulations to Coco Golf. She won, what is it, Wimbledon, the youngest to do it since Serena.
Was it Wimbledon or U.S. Open?
One of those. Yeah, one of them, it was a tennis ball rolling around. Yeah, and I guess she was the youngest to do it since Serena. So yes, congratulations to her, young Black woman there. All right. So, and did I say Ashley? How are you doing? What's going on with you, Donovan? What say you before we get started?
Well, I want to say welcome to the Demetra K Show. It is good to be back, you guys. It's back in Southern California. The minute we went through customs, I started tensing up, because you got to do that when you come back to America, especially Southern California. You got to be on your P's and Q's. But for those, I know everybody's just kind of worried right now. We're going to get out of here by 5:00 my time, because the Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing on channel NBC, I guess. And I know you guys want to watch America's team with God. Watch America's team just plow their way to the Super Bowl. So trust me, we will be out of here by 5:00. If we're not, I will. So do us a favor on your way in, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm and all of that. And if you you see a scrolling banner at the bottom. That banner is scrolling all throughout the show. If you guys want to help keep these shows going and keep the great content coming, please feel free to donate to those different platforms. Yes, we were in Japan. We had a great time. Demetra's going to give us a little talking point about it, how she felt about it and everything like that. For those guys that don't know, I was raised there in Japan. That is my formative years. Very interesting society, very organized society, and the side a little bit bigger than New York City, and clean as a whistle. No trash cans anywhere, but the streets were clean. So Demetra, this is going to be an interesting subject. I've heard about it. I didn't really research it because I got an immunization shot, the flu, and it knocked me on my ass, to tell you the truth. And I'm just now recovering from that. And I got it on Thursday, so bear with me.
Yeah, we'll get again into Japan a little bit later. But I will say, Donovan said the city is very clean. It is very clean. It almost had me fooled until I was running through the rain with my suitcase. Donovan and my daughter were walking. I guess they were too cool to run, so they got wet. So I was running to the subway station so we could get to the airport. And then right when I turned the corner and was about to run into the door, a rat ran out of there. I said, "Oh hell!" But to the no. Okay. I stopped and
wait. Was it a rat or was it a cat?
No. It was a rat. I said, "Aha!" Where they was hiding these rats the whole time we was here. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later on. Yanni, how you doing, brother Don? What's going on with you? And Joe Joseph Jude Machad, how are you? Okay, we didn't waste enough time here. So this incident happened on, I think it was August 24th in Columbus, Ohio, Blendon Township to be exact, where 21-year-old Takaya Young was shot by a police officer in a Kroger parking lot. Now, up until the surveillance came out, and this is the new development, I'm going to show you guys the video in just a second. Not the, whole video of, what happened, some of it. So up until the video came out, there was a lot of protests and calls for justice because it was said that a pregnant mother was gunned down by police officers. Well, a couple of days ago, the actual footage came out. And I'm going to show y'all what happened. And then I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit more detail as for what I know. So let's find it. I actually meant to take one part of it out. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for it, but we'll see. All right, let me find it really quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here it is. Most of it does not have any sound. I think the end has a little bit of sound. So here we go.
Then get out. No, then get out.
Get out of the fucking car.
Get out of the car.
Get out of the fucking car.
Get out of the car!
Your shots fired.
Shots fired! Stop the goddamn car! Stop!
When I muted it right now, did y'all hear the end of that video? You did hear it? Okay, so it didn't work. I was trying to mute it. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Nevertheless, I'm going to remove it. So what y'all saw there was Takaya and two of her friends stealing alcohol. I believe that was a Kroger. Nevertheless, it was, where liquor was being stored. So it showed them. And again, she was pregnant and she was due to give birth to a baby girl in November. She also has two other children, one a 6-year-old son. And I think it said it was a 2-year-old son or 3-year-old son or something like that. So she had two other children. But as I said before, there was a lot of outcry in regards to her being, gunned down, saying that she shouldn't have lost her life due to stealing, right? But when the surveillance came out from about the police, y'all heard them telling her, to, I guess, basically stop or whatever she was doing. They also said that she said, "What are you going to shoot me?" And then she tries to take off, as you guys can see. So the officer, all the officers there are saying, well, she tried to run me over. So they won't give the officers names because they are considered to be victims. Sounds like people are trying to, find out who they are. But this is really a loaded conversation. First, I want to say RIP to her and my condolences to her family for the loss of her. But I think we would be remiss not to have a conversation about so many obvious elements to this video. So I want to make sure I covered everything. Donovan, what say you?
What can I say? I mean, here we go again. We have been so desensitized by these situations that what can you say? We do not have a crime bill. It has already been proven over and over and over again that Black people are the most underserved and unprotected group in the United States over any other group. And yet we see these shootings go on and it's just another day in the park. So what can you say at this point? I mean, I'm at a point after the George Floyd thing when you can literally murder a man on camera by a person who is there to supposedly defend their constitutional rights. An unarmed man gets killed on national TV. What can you say at this point? What we need to say is, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Why aren't you guys in the streets? Why has the protests have stopped? Why has the uprising stopped until we get a bill? The Asians have less than they have less than 20 people in Congress altogether, I guess you would think, and they got an Asian protection bill. We've got over 60 something CBC members alone. CBC, 68 of them. A Black woman who's a vice president, many Black cabinet members, a former Black president, secretaries of state, all of these things that are Black, a Black woman who's a Supreme Court justice, and a Black white man who's a Supreme Court justice. And yet we can't seem to get a bill to protect us from getting killed over nonsense at this point. Here in California, and you guys have seen the videos where people are going into stores and they're just cleaning the place out, right? The DA here in LA County is not going to prosecute anything under $1,000. So that tells a lot of people, go for it, do what you got to do. They're going to get you later on down the road, whatever they're going to do, but they're not going to do it. But this is where we're at. I mean, what can I say at this point other than stop the singing and the kumbaya bullshit, get your asses in the streets and stay in the streets until something gets done, because you keep sending these people who don't represent you back to Congress that do nothing for you. There should be recalls of Jim Clyburn, Maxine Waters, all of these Black leaders. They should be recalled. The same way you get them in is the same way you can get them out. I mean, hey, like I said, at this point, I'm basically desensitized, and so is America. Kill a Black person? Oh, well, what's for dinner?
Yes, indeed. And hello to everybody that came on. And Moni, I see you. So you want us to mention that of it says Erica and Spice or somebody. I'm loosely familiar with it, as I don't really follow a lot of the reality shows, but I've seen some things about it. So I'll try to do my best, but give me a moment. Kid Grebo one, how are you doing? I put your comment up there because you're right. Initially hearing about it, it would appear that I'm going to say an innocent woman was murdered by the police. But when you see the video, and I want to be very careful, because I sometimes people have a hard time connecting the dots in what I'm saying, and I don't want anybody to mistake me in what I'm about to say. Under no circumstances do I believe anybody needs to lose their life for stealing. Okay, I want to just put that out there right now, point blank, period, full stop. Okay. Now, when you saw her, in the parking lot, police officers gave her a command to stop or whatever it was. She did not. She took off. Their allegation is that she tried to hit them with the car. Now, whether she did or not, I don't know. The police officer was very close to the car when she turned to get out of there. Then they fired, into the car, taking her life and the life of her unborn child. And thank you, Easy, for reminding me to include the child. Did not survive that either. But I think we need to address the elephant in the room. And that's a few things for me. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of smash and grabs and stuff like that go on. And again, I'm not saying that people who steal things should die or even be shot. I'm not saying that, okay? But I think we need to address when you put yourself in a situation that may have a negative outcome for you. Some of that's got to be on you, because people are marching in the streets and protesting and all that behind what happened to her. But then it's like when you see the video of her alleviating that store, her and her friends, mind you, it was three of them, alleviating that store of alcohol. And the other thing that came to my mind is, you pregnant, you about to deliver in November, what is you doing with alcohol? But that ain't my business. If you want to do whatever you're doing with it, that's on you. What are you doing with it? And the obvious question is, what makes you think that you can walk into somebody's establishment, load up your bag with stuff you have not paid for, and then walk out? And then when the police meet you where you are, then you're busted, basically, right? And then you're told to stop and you don't. Now, of course, let's just keep it a buck. We know that Ohio is with the stuff. That's where Tamir Rice was gunned down, innocently, right? So we know that they don't have a problem with doing what they have done in the past to Black people. Ohio is considered to be a very racist state. But I was having this conversation with my daughter, and she made a very good point. She says it sucks because now she's being lumped in with the copious amount of Black men and women who were murdered unjustly by police officers for, riding in the car, walking, or just doing everything things innocently, right? So she gets lumped in with that. Her lawyer at first was trying to say, oh, she wasn't stealing, but then when the footage came out, and I guess it sounds like some alcohol fell out of the car or was it found in the car or whatever, her lawyer then backtracked and said, well, yeah, initially, we were told that she wasn't stealing, that she actually put it back, but nevertheless, it was unjust what they did to her. Now, it doesn't sound like her family has seen the new footage of what actually transpired with her in the parking lot. But I just, I think it just be dishonest not to give it a full conversation. And Kid Grebo, I think you're 100% right. It does change. Not that she stole and she shouldn't be here, but that when she was told to stop and listen. One thing I don't want nobody to ever do is come on here and say that I'm, siding with the police. What I'm doing is going off of what I have seen, apparently, allegedly, from what the video entails. That's where I'm going with. But we have to do a better job somehow, some way of impressing upon our people. You don't live in a country that's going to be free, fair, and friendly to you. Had you been a white girl, yeah, you probably wouldn't have caught, a couple of hot ones or whatever, but you're not. So we need to talk to our people about being upright as much as possible, not having dirty hands. Even, if we're going to be in that situation, there will be no doubt that it was, pure, blatant, wholesale murder of us. So I'm going to open up the link, but I'm going to give it back to Donovan. First, I'm going to read you, give it to Donovan, read your comments, and I'm going to open up the link, and I want you guys' opinion on this.
Well, again, unfortunately, a lot of people, and Demetra says this all the time, I say this all the time, we have been trained from our parents, especially when you're a Black person in the United States, because Big Mama don't want nothing to happen to her baby, that we are to comply with the police officers at all times, no matter what they say. But see, here's the problem. And again, what the hell is wrong with you? Not all police officer orders are lawful orders, but we bend to the authority because they have a badge. And we shouldn't be doing that. You need to know the laws of your state and your basic constitutional laws, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of policemen don't know it. 2 years ago, I was in an incident where police were called on me at a public event. And you can go on YouTube right now, go on my YouTube channel. You can go on right now and you can see how I handled the police. This little 5-foot Riverside sheriff woman talk about, if you don't leave here, I'm going to arrest you and all this other stuff, right? Most people would bow down to the authority. I didn't bow down because me, Donovan, I can't speak for everybody else. I knew my rights. I was at a public event. I had every right to record there. I had every right to be there. But the authority, because she had a badge, she thought that she could do whatever she wanted. She was going to intimidate. At the end of the day, I was proven right. I was allowed to stay there, and she was taken to task. She looked like a total idiot. And this is our problem in our thing. We are so situated to survive. Worry about it later. Fight about it in court. Whatever the deal is. You got to pick and choose. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and stand up to the police and do all that, all that other stuff, especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it. You want to return to your family. But again, how the hell are you a citizen of the United States and you don't know the first 5 articles of the Constitution and your basic rights? Your local laws. You should know that. Demetria will tell you all the time. How do you live in a city for 20, 30, 40 years and you never been to one city council meeting? You never been to one. Demetria came to my city and she saw this lady named Miss Jackson show up after they decided what was going to happen. She's up there hollering and screaming and people looking at her like, we had a meeting on that 30 days ago. Where were you at? But like I said, this happens to us over and over again. And here's the sad thing, and this is just my opinion before we open it up. I just want to send this to you guys. Things are not looking good in the Black community. It never was. All of this, oh, we're doing great. We're doing fine. Oh, everything's great. Only a third of Black community is doing well. And even the third is getting hit now. So just think if you're below the poverty line, at the poverty line, or just above it. The 70%, they're getting handled. And this is why you're seeing all these people in survival mode. We are in survival mode, you guys. And you're going to see a lot more of these executions. Let's stop calling it what it is. It's either an execution or a murder. Nobody deserves to be murdered over a bottle of strawberry Boone's Farm. Nobody deserves to be murdered over that. But that's what's going to happen. And this is going to be their justification for everything. We are so desensitized by Black killings, by police at this point, that we're just like, let's go on to the next thing. Did any of the CBC talk about it? Did any of these representatives, did any of these aldermen, mayors come out and say this was unjust, or well, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? No, we want to back the police. Here we are. They're bringing in, think about this. So these mayors were talking about, it is a human right that we have to house and educate these migrants, but yet it's not a human right to house and educate citizens of the United States. 50% so that are homeless are Black. You guys tell me what the hell is going on.
So yeah, I mean, I hear all that, but I kind of want to stay in the same vein here just a little bit. I'm going to put this comment up. Rain says, Demetria, should she have been murdered for some cheap liquor? How about her unborn child? And was I on mute when I said that I'm not saying that she should have had her life taken due to stealing? I think I was very clear and demonstrative when I repeated that. In fact, I never said that her stealing cheap liquor equates to her not being here. What I did say, though, was we got to address the elephant in the room and stop making excuses for our people doing stuff, putting themselves in harm's way, because what y'all not going to do is put her in the same situation as a Tamir Rice, as a Philando Castile, as a George Floyd, as an Eric Gardner, as a Breonna Taylor, as all the Sandra Blancs, all the people we can think of, and not even as her name escaped me, Latasha Harlins. Okay, we're not gonna put her in the same category because this dear departed sister here put herself in a situation like, in what planet do you think that you should be able to walk up in somebody's establishment? They're not even running through the joint like you see most people doing. They're walking to somebody's store and putting their stuff that they didn't pay for in their bags, and you gonna walk out? So when the police says, hey, stop, or whatever, because that is their job, right? And I don't cut for the police, but let's keep it a buck. It's the police's job to make sure that you're not stealing out of people's store. So we heard the officer tell her to stop. She did not stop, and unfortunately, she is not here. Was it a justified killing? I don't know. I would say off the top of my head, no. But if they're trying to say that she was using her car as a weapon, I don't know, right? But wouldn't it have been nice if she was not in Kroger or wherever she was, pregnant, mother of 2 children that she has left without a mama? Wouldn't it have been nice if she wasn't in there doing that in the first place, that if she wanted some alcohol for whatever reason, that she would have just paid for it? But we got to stop defending all the nonsense of our people. Now, I'm not saying she shouldn't be here, but what I'm saying, Rain, is don't twist what I said, because y'all heard what I said. I never said that it her stealing cheap liquor. See, to y'all, that's cheap liquor, but somebody had to pay for that. She didn't pay for that. So when you even deduce it down to some cheap liquor, it's almost saying like, damn, why are you so mad that I took your stuff? Because it was my stuff, regardless of what it meant, the value that it had to you. See, it wasn't cheap enough for her not to go steal it. But stop co-signing the degeneracy of our people. But most importantly, don't put words in my mouth, because that's not what I said. Now, let me get back to these comments, and I'm going to put this link back up here. Kid Greenwell says, police have no authority over citizens unless they have reasonable, articulate suspicion a crime was or is going to be committed. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? And Sherry Brown, how you doing? If I didn't already, I say this incident was so sad. I'm praying for her family. I do see a lot of smash and grabs and people drive off. Wow. And even those people don't deserve to have their life taken. But God dang, why do you think you can do that? You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question real quick, Dimitri? I know we got to get to the comments, but here's my question, though. Would you agree if a person is in survival mode that would be justified? I'm not talking about like taking a TV. I'm talking about if they're like stealing food or medicine or something like that.
So you mean like justified in stealing?
Yeah, like, you're in survival mode. If a person's in survival mode, like I got to steal to eat, or I need to get this medicine because it's so expensive. Now, I'm not saying watches and Rolexes. You're going in there dashing, taking out radios and iPhones. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, does there come a time where, it is justified to steal? I believe there does come a time when you're in survival mode. There does come a time. What do you think? So
I don't think that stealing is justifiable in that situation, but it's understandable. Does it make sense? Because you're never justified in going to take something that doesn't belong to you. But when you apply a reason behind it, then you can say, oh, okay, I understand. You were out of resources. Your children were hungry at home. They maybe didn't have no diapers or whatever. So I understand why you did it. And there's been plenty of cases where we've seen somebody get caught shoplifting or whatever, and the police are called. In some cases, the police are like, you know what? How much does all this stuff cost? I'm going to pay for it. Or we've seen other, Samaritans or whatever say, I'm going to pay for it. So justifiable, no. Understandable, yes. You know what, Easy? Next time I go, I'm gonna bring you some chopsticks, and I'm gonna deliver them to you myself. All right. And Maureen, how are you doing? And hello to everybody come on here. So I'm going to catch up. And Perry, how you doing? It says, personally, she should have stopped the car. Don't give them a reason to shoot you. I mean, I'm just saying. And Rain, why does it matter if Kid Grebo is from here or not? Where are we getting at with that? If you don't mind me asking. Renz G, how you doing? King of Sorrows. Did I say hello to you already? If not, hello. And Switching Lanes, how you doing? It says, when it comes to the military arm for white supremacy, you have no rights until they allow you as a so-called black man. All right. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? And Michael, if I didn't already, hello, how are you? And Easy says that poor baby going straight to the grave. Sad. Yeah, I mean, the mama was up in there lifting alcohol, didn't consider her baby in her belly or her two children that were already here. So it's like, what point do we put a foot to our own people, not physically sometimes, but When do we put a foot to our people's backside and say, hey, cut it out? You know what I mean? Damon, how are you doing today? Thank you, Yanni. And let's see here. I'm just going to skip down because I know I'm behind. Mike Nice, how you doing? And M. Florinori, how you doing? You says, whether our people want to hear it or not, Donovan's telling the truth. Many of our issues are self-inflicted. A lot of them are. That is very true. And Rain says, I am done. Good night, chat. I don't want you to get mad, but I'm just saying, I mean, sometimes we got to stop making excuses for the nonsense. And, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that's you, but, you know, to deduce it down to cheap liquor is like, I don't care if it was the toilet water that was sitting on the shelf. It wasn't hers. It wasn't hers. And so we can't say, I use this example a lot. What happened to your hand? Oh, I stuck it into a lion's mouth and it bit it off. And you mad at the lion or you mad at yourself? Because why are you sticking your hand in the lion's mouth? Ain't that what they do? Don't they bite stuff off? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at some point in time, we got to start saying, okay, well, what role did I play? I'm not victim blaming or shaming, but come on now. Come on. Facts, not feelings. You said, Demetra, it was murder. That's how Black should see it. No time in history has white woman got deleted over a theft of liquor. Yes. And I said that. I said, had she been white, she probably would not have been shot. But come on now. What y'all not going to do? And listen, I'm going to say this like I said on Wednesday. Some of this is still jet lag. Last night, I got 2 hours of sleep, and I've been pushing the gas ever since I woke up. And I did a whole bunch of burpees in the process. All right. You cannot say that you are Black in America and not understand your position as a Black person in America. You know good and hell well that you're not going to get the same treatment as a white woman taking her white self into Kroger, stealing up their alcohol and walking out. Yes, the officers are going to say, well, do you need a cup? Can I pour you a drink? Yes, she going to get the carrying the white woman treatment. So if you're a Black woman in America, especially somewhere like Ohio, you should know better. Well, like, why are you putting yourself in a situation to have a cop say, ooh, it's a Black woman, I'm going to be justified in doing it, so I'm going to do it. So, yeah, it's probably murder. I ain't really looked into it that deeply, but don't negate the fact that the woman was doing something she should not have done. And because I know what I do, when I go out, if I'm in an adverse situation, yes, sometimes I'm like, okay, I know I ain't white. I'm probably not going to get away with it. So I'm probably going to make better choices or different choices. So I just ain't going to be here for it today, y'all. Let's have some common sense conversations of today. Let's stop making excuses. Robert, how are you doing? And Emily says she should have had a court date. Yes, she should have. I'm not saying that cop should have shot her, but I'm saying he did. And they are now calling him a victim. I read it. They're calling him a victim, which is why they won't release his name, because it was heard on the body cam, him saying she tried to run me over. And another cop said, I know. So it all kind of happened all at once. So I'm not just sitting up here just saying stuff. I'm telling you what I read. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just telling you what I read. And Perry says, but stealing liquor is not survival mode. They just be trying to get drunk. And like I said, she's pregnant. What is you doing with alcohol? Not that that's my business. Honeydew says at the same time, she wouldn't have been shot had she been white. We know that, right? It's just they had the evidence. Why not just go to her house and arrest her for stealing? I agree. I'm not saying she should have been shot, but I'm saying, do y'all not want to have a conversation about why she was there in the first place? Or do y'all just want to gloss over to the part where she was shot? Because we could do that. If y'all want to not talk about what she was doing up in Kroger, we could do that. I'm flexible today. And Heru, the Duke of the Great Lakes, how you doing? It says, how she in survival mode pregnant? Where your man at? Be quiet. Jan Michael says, I was raised by Lee Rigoli. I'm probably jacked that up. Number one, love, don't risk. Why put yourself in a position to risk your freedom of life? But see, you know what you're doing? You're applying too much common sense there. And Dimple Face, how you doing? It says they should have let her live, have her day in court. That no dispute there. Kimmy, how you doing? Robert says, what happened to obey the laws? And then your comment cut off. Donovan, you say, right, I was just asking if there's a time where stealing is justified. And Angela, you say, if I worked in a grocery store and someone stole food or over-the-counter medicine, I would let them go and act like I didn't see them steal it. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. You know, if you're stealing food, you probably need it, right? Devil Faces says, until then, she was innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. But, you know, the whites with the guns, pipes, bombs, they right. Yeah, I mean, we need to get a little bit more education about our position here in America. You know what I'm saying? And Sherry, you say, we are our own worst enemy and want to cry like we are victims. I'm going to just let that statement stand. Mona said, I don't like the fact that somebody can put their lives in danger over stupidity when you could have just went and purchased it and called it a day. This is trifling. This is that I consider it needs to stop. I'm gonna let that one stand too. JBWR, how you doing? And Alvin, how you doing? He says, in survival mode, you can ask the store manager for food. They throw out expired products almost daily. Some will give you food items. That is true. Rain says, you are so cold-hearted, Demetra. Listen, Rain, you know I love you. You a long time, you know, viewer, participant, and all that. I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm not trying to make you upset. And I'm just like, at some point in time, you know, we got to use some common sense, because us dealing in delusion, and I'm not necessarily saying this about you, us dealing in delusion is not best for us. You know, sometimes we need the medicine, you know, straight, no chaser. Perry says, I get what you mean, Donovan, trust me. And Maureen says, okay, so you guys are just going on. And Suki B, how you doing? He says, alcohol should not be any pregnant woman's hands. I'm just saying, but I'm just keep reading. And Emma says, I grew up poor, but nothing made me want to steal somebody else's stuff. My parents were good at hiding that we were poor. Yep. Kimmy says she got shot as a result of pushing the gas, not stealing. I'm gonna just let that stand too. Switching lanes, she says, you okay, sister? You did or said nothing wrong. I just, you know, I don't know. I sometimes I'm thinking from Mars or outer space, because I'm too logical sometimes. Sometimes I just need to just, for real. Black America, you say she got shot because she moved her car. He asked her not to, and she took off. But I'm saying, do we just want to have a conversation about her getting, you know, shot and the alcohol, or do we want to add everything else into the equation? Dimpleface says those Klansmen with badges in Ohio kept doing it because they can. Put 60 bullets into one black man in Akron. Some have forgotten. I'll never forget. Yeah, we should always be cognizant of our position in America. They don't need a reason to do what they're doing to us. We've seen it time and time again. Honeydew says, why was his gun drawn on a pregnant woman? I'm not a police officer, and y'all don't make me try to defend a police officer, but I would imagine that that's probably protocol when you go up to somebody's car. Maybe they didn't know she was pregnant. Maybe they didn't know what she had in her car. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. So I just don't know. Sherry, you say, I agree with Demetra. We know we don't have the complexion for the connection. And Kid Grebo says the police had a reasonable suspicion in this case. I mean, it would be a valid argument.
And this is another reason why qualified immunity needs to be repealed, so that you can take that officer off the street, and if he is held liable instead of the taxpayer, those officers will be held liable. This is why we need it, because an officer that knows they don't have qualified immunity in the situation would make a better decision before they pull their gun.
Yeah. Let's see here. Mike, he says the police did place himself in danger by stepping in front of the car. Why? Yeah, I guess you could probably argue that. I'm not arguing for the police. I'm just trying to think about it before I speak. He did put himself in danger. However, police officer gives you a directive. Are you supposed to do it? Or are you supposed to just take off? I'm just asking.
I have a question. I have an answer to that a little bit. The Supreme Court ruled, I think about 12 years ago, that it is not the job of the police to protect you. So the question would be, do you follow the order or do you not? Because if the Supreme Court says that it is not their job to protect you, why would you follow orders of people that are not there to protect you by law?
I mean, I'm not going to be splitting all those hairs, okay? Because I know that I'm not going to be splitting all those hairs. So if I'm pulled over and I'm, told to give a directive, and I'm not saying that always works. Sometimes people do lose their lives when they've done nothing. I'm gonna try my best to make it home. I'm not trying to be sitting up there having court on the side of the road and what you were supposed to do. I'm trying to make my black ass to my court date so I can try to hash it out there, because we know that the officers are often judge, jury, and executioner all on the spot. So I'm not going to be sitting up there pulling out my, my penal codes and my constitution and I'm not going to be doing all that, because I got people who depending on me to make it alive. And I keep telling people, I can't tell y'all what to do, but stop giving black people bad advice. Well, what you need to do is tell them what the law. You can try. Now you see you ain't getting nowhere. All right, where my citation? Where my ticket? So I can make it to court or whatever the case is. But I'm not going to be doing all that, especially since I know that the police are very adverse to black people in America. I'm going to shut my mouth, get my citation, then I'm going to show up to my court date, and hopefully it'll work in my favor. I said hopefully work in my favor. Now I want to address some of these comments real quick, and I'm going to open up the link. When I do open up the link, please come up here with the applicable conversation. Don't come up here deviating from nothing else. Don't be leaning on the gas. I don't want a history lesson. Again, don't fault me today. I'm still very jet lagged. Have not gotten a whole lot of sleep at all. I won't use that as an excuse. I'm just telling y'all where my tolerance level is today. Okay. Dimple face, you say, so if the pig is saying that she tried to run him over and murder her, the black cop who killed the autistic boy should be released. The father used the car as a weapon. Yeah. But how many times have we seen black police officers think they can do what white police officers do, and it doesn't work out in their favor? How many times have we seen it? A lot. So even they are living in a delusion and don't know their place as black people in America. Now we can get into some solutions how we can maybe change that around, but see, we ain't ready for that conversation. But yeah, I agree. They all should be granted the same type of justice, but even cops aren't immune to that. Black cops, I should say. And Rain says, you're making excuses for the police just like whites in the comments. I've never made one excuse for the police. And now there you're lying on me, because I asked a question, a logical question does not mean I'm making excuses. So y'all need to get good at hearing what I'm saying and not hear what you think I'm saying. Because one thing about Demetra, I tried my best to be very clear in my delivery. So you never heard me make an excuse. And if I did, I want you to write in the comment section where I made an excuse for what that officer did to her. What I did say is we need to know our place in America. You cannot be given the same privileges as a white woman that would have walked into Kroger and stole up a bunch of alcohol and jumped in the car. That's what I said. All right. Now I see that I'm behind in these comments. I want to skip down a little bit. Just me, how you doing? Says police have chased me before. Y'all can't believe. Tell people who don't like you. Where's the damn proof? Y'all believe demons. Okay. Kiki says they don't see black women as women, and sadly, that's something we have to keep in mind. Stay out of people's stores stealing. It's just not worth it. I'm going to just read the common sense questions, and they don't need no more explanation. Okay, only Pamela's way. How you doing, beautiful? He says, hey, Demetra and Donovan in chat. Yanni says, scripture, though they slay us and count themselves innocent. You said a word right there. And Switching Lane says, it's F the police, but these days when they stop you, you see they trigger happy out here. Don't be no damn fool. You know what I'm saying? My God. And Hundia Mowat, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says stealing does not render a life being taken. And I think maybe you weren't here at the beginning of the show. I was very clear when I said that. So I just want to repeat that. Honeydew says, I get your point for sure. We put ourselves in compromising situations and should know better. We ain't got 9 lives. Cops see black and shoot, ask questions later. Yeah, it's like, when are we going to just say, okay, this is the way it is? Not because I know the way it should be, but right now it ain't that way for black people. Do y'all want to make it home alive? Or do you want to sit up on the side of the road and argue? And like, my thing is, you done took the people alcohol, you got in the car, our officer told you to stop, you was going to take off. Did you think you were just going to just drive off as slowly as you walked out the store with them people's alcohol? And the officer wasn't going to do nothing to you? Like, what's going on through your mind here? You know what I mean? All right, let me skip down to some people that I have not seen. And Michelle, how you doing? She says they may have been stealing the alcohol to resell it. They might have been. And Emmy says two things can be true at the same time. That is definitely true. And let me, Black America says women don't like being held accountable, even if it's not them. That's not necessarily true. One who cares how you doing. It says even good evening, Demetra, Donovan, and chat. Thank you both for all your hard work, and we thank you for being here. Easy said D. Cop screaming. She trying to run me over. It's called creating audio record to justify the next action. That I know. As I said, I'm not saying any of it is right. I'm telling y'all what I heard. I'm just telling y'all what I heard and what I read. And that's all I'm doing. I wasn't there. I'm gonna skip down. Patty, how you doing? He says, yes, you made it to alive. Yes, indeed. Angela says officers draw guns first and anybody black or brown, anybody black or brown. That is very true. And Renee says, I wonder, was she an alcoholic? What would make her place her life at such grave risk over alcohol? I mean, and those are good questions. I should also say that they did immediately try to render first aid to her, but she later died at the hospital. So I just wanted to add that context. And Kiki says, just to say, we have to realize that we're in modern day Babylon. These people put a price on air, oxygen. Literally everything is about $1. Yet this country stands behind the Bible. But the Bible orders a gleaning system for those who are hungry and homeless. They don't care. Even if she was stealing for a need, it probably would have ended the same way. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Metamorphosis says, how you doing? All right. I'm just going to skip down so I can catch up because I know that I'm behind. Sherry says a lot of these cops are trigger happy, including the black ones. That is true. Hiroyu says the illusion of inclusion, we're not U.S. citizens or human beings to them. Right. As Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we talking about some doggone civil rights and we don't even have human rights. You first need human rights. They don't even think you're a human. So you talk, well, what is civil rights to somebody they don't deem to be a human? And Handia says, I've seen way more deadly incidents happen where police do take the suspect and make it to court. Still stealing does not render a life taken, especially when no weapons are involved. Okay. I'm just kind of skipping down because I know I'm behind. I want to open up the link. Tracy says, once again, some are choosing to hear what they want. Yeah, I'm realizing that, which is why I'm trying to really just, go through some of these comments. Metamorphosis says, thou shalt not steal, one of many, the most high commandments. Consequences, pick your poison. I'm just going to keep reading. Just Me says, the law not based off no damn white women. After my experience, they blew a white woman. Is that what you're saying? Away? Is that what you're trying to say? Suki B says, the key is accountability. Dimple Face says, but they're not going to shoot you whether you comply. I'm sorry, but they're going to shoot you whether you comply or not. I'm just saying. Yeah, but wouldn't it be easier on your family that if you comply and they still shoot you, that they have a case? Because right now it's not looking too good for her family, who initially thought that she, they just applied some pressure on her, to say the least, without knowing what actually happened. But wouldn't it be easier for your family to battle that out in court, that you did comply and they still killed you anyway? I'm just saying, because she's got 2 babies that she left behind. Just Me says, y'all better pray when y'all see race soldiers. I'm not finna fear them. Well, that's good that you don't. It's fear and common sense should be I think this should be used in the same, together. Not fearing is one thing, but common sense is another. Because I think, I know you in these comment sections walking tall and talking tough right now, but I know damn well you ain't finna be, blazing saddles out there in them streets with the police officer. They tell you to stop. I know you're not. So.
But I am. It's on video.
To a point, you got some damn sense, okay? You even got a line that you ain't gonna cross. Okay, and then Moni says, Donovan, I fully agree with we do need qualified immunity to be removed, but a lot of times people still, Donovan, don't want to deal with what the Bible tells you in the book of Deuteronomy 23:2 tells it all. Okay, and Honeydew says, how do we prevent the fear that is perpetually being placed on us? I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna give y'all a chance to come up here. I just want to catch up in these comment sections. I made it to the bottom. All right. And then let's see here. Moni says, tell me we're not going to ignore Erica. I'm going to bring it up. Matter of fact, let me write it down. Erica, Lena, And I'm gonna write this down. Solutions. All right. Okay, so M says, you don't know how hard it is for me to get people to actually do something to change things legislatively. I want to know what to do. What do people expect? Keyboard warriors ain't gonna get it. Hurley says, did those three women care that they made us look like savages? Well, I also want to say this too. If you're talking about the three women that were in the video, they don't have the ability to make us look like savages. And if we look like savages to white people, it would we was looking like that to them when they did what they did to our ancestors so many years ago. So they don't need those three women as an excuse to see us as savages. They already see us as that, and if they want to argue that we're savages, they need to ask themselves: were we that before they came in contact with us, or did we learn from them? I'm just asking. Rain says, "I'm reading between the lines. I get the host loud and clear." It's all love at the end of the day. We just having a discussion. Only Pamela's Way says, "Precious babies, who's taking care of them?" I know that her mother, their grandmother, has been very outspoken in regards to what happened to her. So potentially her or maybe their fathers. Buckhorse DC, where you been? And just me says, I have had them chase me. The Most High had me though, and I'm glad that it wasn't a different outcome. So let me put this link up here again. Come on here, stick to the script. Keep it short.
Do you have your Irish coffee by your desk?
Do I have Irish coffee?
Yeah, by your desk.
Okay.
Do
I need some?
You're gonna need to put that there. So
you mean so? Oops, what did I do here? What am I doing?
I bought Demetra a flask while we were in Japan.
It's empty. You didn't put nothing in it. So let me put this up here really quick. I want to make sure that I adhere to Donovan's demand that we get off of here by 5, which we have another hour to be on here, so that he can go watch his Cowboys and hope that they win.
Well, I have to call in plays, cell phone connection. See what I see.
Have you been doing that? Have you been doing that?
No, I did it in the 90s and I had to stop for a while. When they were winning, that's when I was, throwing it in there.
About to say, you might want to switch up what you're doing, homeboy. Common Man, how you doing? Marty says, Demetra, when do we move on to the subject of we're gonna move on in just a minute. I see you, Mike. I'm gonna bring you up here. And I want again you to be brief and stay on the topic. So I'm gonna bring you up right now. What say you, Mr. Pan?
I'm doing fine, Demetra. How you guys doing? How is your guys' trip from Japan? I know
it was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, because I've been to Japan once. This was back in 2004. Tokyo, Nagasaki. I don't remember other cities in Japan. It's been so long. Well, yeah, it's very advanced.
So what you got on the topic?
On the topic, yes. I saw the clips of it. I haven't seen the full video. I can't comment too much, but I'll say this. I don't think the police had the right I don't think the police had the right to suit the subject, because when she stole something, let's say allegedly she stole something, right, to be safe, right? It was not like she was using her car as an object, right? And I just think the police should have done was just call back up and let them chase her, rather than just putting like bullets, to be honest, and let her get her day at the court. Because I really think this could have been resolved. You know what I mean? I really think it could have been resolved in a diplomatic and professional manner. And Don, he said something earlier about like for people who steal, right? Because they need food, right, to put on the table, which is understandable. Whereas like stealing a watch, TV screen, like those things are not really like necessity, because what are you gonna do with watching a TV every day when TV can't produce food, right, or tangible items? Because I can understand with food and other stuff and medicine you mentioned, right, and thinking about what you said, Donovan, right, about why people steal food, medicine. Especially I'll focus on healthcare alone. why people steal medicine, because a lot of insurance companies don't want to pay for prescription that people really need. It's considered essential, because our system in America, our healthcare financing system, is very broken, very convoluted, bureaucratic. It's very focused on profits, commodities, advertisement. And I'm sure I'm sure you guys are aware, when you guys went to Japan. Japan has affordable healthcare. You don't see one Japanese person going broke.
And I hear what you're saying, Mike. I kind of want to keep it a little bit on.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the subject. I get it all about the healthcare and all of that. But that's not really what this is about in regards to, because it'd be different if and to Kaya, I think her name is pronounced.
Kaya.
It'd be different if she was coming up out of there with a bag of groceries. Then maybe we can have this argument. But that a young sister was not walking out of there with groceries. She was walking out of there with alcohol. That's not
Alcohol,
something that
right. Alcohol, right. Alcohol. Yeah, I'm just saying that the police shouldn't have sought her. You know what I mean? Unless the officer's life was being, was being compromised. You know what I mean? It's like no need to sue the moving car unless it's coming after him. That's a different story. But again, I feel like that lady should have just gone to jail for stealing alcohol. There's like no need to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And again, I'm not on here trying to defend the actions of the police, but I think at some point in time, we need to, really be able to have an in-depth conversation with everything involved, right? I know it's easy to do sensational things and all of that, but I just think it'd be remiss of us to not have the full conversation in regards to everything that happened.
Yeah, and that's right. And I feel like there should be a solution. There should be a solution to prevent people from stealing alcohol. You know how, like, when you go to some stores, right? They have a very, like, I'm trying to put this in. I can't visualize it, but I'm just trying to put it in words. I'll do the best as I can. You know how, like, some stores have like a gated, like, storage for alcohol, right? Like, you can't get the alcohol unless you ask the workers to open the items for you to purchase, right? I think that's what's needed. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, Michael.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you this. My grandmother on my father's side, she would collect money, like coins and stuff and all of that, and she would leave it out in the open on her, fireplace mantle. And people would say, "Oh, you need to put that up. Somebody might take it." She says, "Why I got to put something up in my house?" So the point that I'm making is, why do we need to put gates and cages and stuff around alcohol? I mean, I can get if it was like a minor thing, minors getting a hold of it, but so you'll stop stealing it. Why do I need to do that?
Well, I'm saying for the coins it's different. I'm saying for, like, alcohol. I know a lot of, like, people who own the alcoholic beverages can't afford to, like, I guess lose money or have their properties, I guess to have their property destroyed, which I'm trying to say. And also because I feel like every time, like, the police respond, right? We all know what's going to happen at the end of the day. It's going to be like a shooting over alcoholic beverages, so it's going to involve that. Because from my experience, when I traveled to other countries, I noticed that I noticed that in the news in other countries, you don't hear people stealing alcohol or expensive items, because they have a very strict policy of if you're going to purchase stuff to prevent, court fees.
I mean, I get it, but I'm one of those people. I raised some children, and I didn't raise them with this, that. Nah, do as you supposed to do, and you gonna be all right. So, Michael, I'm actually let Black America have his say, and we're at a press for time because we won't be able to be over today because Donovan has given us the directive that he needs to be sitting in his lazy boy chair watching his football. So please come back and see us again. But thank you for your insight.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope Cowboys go all the way to the Super Bowl, Donovan.
Thank you. Black America, how can I help you today?
I just my last comment, the accountability comment. Hello, Demetra. Hello, Donovan. Cowboys suck. Raiders go all the way. The accountability. The problem. I've been looking at the chat. And the problem with a lot of the people and women in the chat is you're trying to hold a woman accountable for an action in which she end up passing away. So I understand what you're saying. She did something that she wasn't supposed to be doing, and that resulted in her being taken away from us. But they're saying no matter what she was doing as a woman and as a black woman, she still should not be held accountable for those transgressions. So that's why a lot of the comments are because a lot of our women feel like they don't have to listen to anybody. This cop is standing in front of the car. They're telling her, "Don't." I watched the video. I mean, if any one of us are standing in front of a vehicle with a firearm and they start to drive that vehicle towards us, I mean, you don't have a choice. It's either you or them. It's not a see you in court or anything like that. You're going to use your only option. Nobody is ducking and rolling like TJ Hooker. You know, if you have somebody driving towards you in a vehicle, unfortunately, you have to use your weapon in that case.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of arguments with you today, Black America, because I mean, I agree with you. I think people are kind of hearing what they want to hear. Facts, not feelings. I love you too. You said that I'm wrong on this one. You say, and I'm going to put your comment up here so I can give it the proper context. You says there can be no case where it's normal for a cop to kill someone because they stole something. As Kimmy and forgive me, a couple of other people have said, it wasn't because she stole something. It's because she took off in the car. And from what they're saying, whether it was true or not, she tried to hit them with it. That's why she was shot. It wasn't over the alcohol, because when she got in the car with the alcohol, they asked her to stop or whatever. They gave her a directive. She chose not to do it. She chose to take off. So she didn't get shot for stealing. She got shot for taking off, and then whatever they ascertained from that. So that I hope we're becoming more clear about. I'm hoping. I don't know. I'm gonna bring LS up here. How you doing, LS? What you got on the conversation?
What's going on, Dimitri K, Donovan? What is that? Black America?
Black America.
Black America. No, yeah, look, the cop put himself in harm's way. I understand that protocol for they have to, cover their partner, but he could have did that from the passenger side and not been in the path of the car when she pulled off. Yes, she does need to listen, but let's be 100 here. How is this different from Miss Brickface? I mean, she don't need a man. If it's a point of a woman or man not wanting to do what they're told, when your life is on the line, when it's best to follow directions, it doesn't matter if you're black or green. It's more times than not, it's not going to turn out well. And that's not saying that she deserved to be killed for shoplifting. And really, the cop that did this, we may never know, but I highly suspect him killing this young lady and murdering her unborn child will haunt him for the rest of his days. He's never going to be able to forget that. No matter if he say he feels justified or not, on the inside, he'll always be bothered.
M says triangulation much, and I'm like, because I'm trying to figure out how Brickface got up in this conversation and her not taking orders from him. I don't know.
Well, Brickface got in because, well, you said earlier that for what happened to the young lady who was killed, that some of it's on her. What happened to Brickface? Some of it's on her. Nobody's saying that she should have been hit or the guy was right for hitting her. But if there are other reports that say she's a troublemaker, I mean, you're not going to risk your life for a troublemaker. If it's just, a woman trying to put her groceries in a car and somebody's on her, well, yeah, she'll get some help. But if you're going out here yelling and cursing out dudes and, online screaming, you don't want a man, whether the person who ended up hitting you in the face heard that or not, your words can catch up with you and you don't know where it's going to come from. The same way we don't know where another person's line is.
Can I just ask you something? Brother,
What's up?
you ain't got to lie to kick it. Just say you wanted to bring up Brick Gate or Brick whatever. You ain't gotta put no draw strawberry and all kinds of. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just keep it going. You ain't have to put no
I understand what he was saying.
No, wait. I'm gonna tell you what you did.
What's up?
I said I wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you brought me peanut butter and mustard.
Come on, Demetri, you my girl. The only reason I brought it up is because of what you said earlier. And I agree. Some of it is on her. She should have just took the charge and went to jail and handled it that way instead of trying to drive off. And the cops should have used better understanding and realizing that, well, yeah, maybe shooting her isn't the best move here. And likewise, Brickface maybe cursing the dude out about a number or taunting him as someone else who was there said she did. Maybe that wasn't the smartest move. So she kind of had her hand on the brick that hit her in the face.
I get it. I want to.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So I hear what you're saying, brother, but I have a huge problem with it because you just said that a cop should not put himself in harm's way. Police officers and firefighters, we do that every day for people. We put our lives on the line for people. It's not him putting himself in harm's way. It's him taking a position of authority. If you have children and your child is going towards the stairs and you ever stood in front of those stairs and said, hey, don't go down there, you're not putting yourselves in harm's way because your kid could actually push you down the stairs and you fall backwards and break your neck. You're taking a position of authority. And I believe me, I don't like cops more than anybody else. But we have to stop looking at it like that. And then the other part I agree with you is, and this might make Demetri mad, the women don't want to listen to do what men say. We just keep it real. The women don't feel, our women, our black women mostly, don't feel like they have to do what a man says.
Okay. Let me push back a little bit on the early comment. When I said harm's way, I was specifically talking about him standing in front of the car. And I said he could have covered his partner from standing on the passenger side next to the passenger door. If she would have reached for something, he would have seen it clear as day. Standing in front of the car, that's not bright. I'm sorry, that's just not bright. There isn't a person made. This ain't the X-Men. You're not standing in front of a car and stopping it with your body. You're not doing it. And by him doing that, whether he holding a gun or not, you still gonna get hit. So let's use the same way I tell you, like I told this cop that harassed me, even though I ain't get a ticket and I ain't go to jail. I told him, everybody knows y'all job is dangerous, but the same way you want to go home every night, the people you pull over want to go home too. So don't stand in front of the car. Don't put yourself in that spot.
Okay, can I just try to make sure I'm understanding things correctly? I just want to make sure, okay? Maybe y'all can help me out here. And hello to everybody that came on here. I don't know, like I said, today until the next week, we're going to blame anything that I may say on being jet lag still. Operating on about 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep. Okay. I want to make sure I understand. So the young lady and her friends, they go into the Kroger. They alleviate them of, some alcohol that they did not pay for. They walk out of the store. They get in the car. Police are already out there, which is rather fast. I don't know. They tell them to stop. One of the cops, get in the way. And now we're saying that the cops shouldn't be in the way of the car, which is probably true. But at what point do we start saying, okay, we know that? But when do we start giving a conversation that she shouldn't have pressed on the gas to take off? When do we really start? Because wait, we've been here on my thing here for 1 hour and 10 minutes and 55 seconds. And we've given more conversation to an argument we already know. Nobody on here is advocating that an officer should have taken her life or the life of her child. We're not saying that, okay? But when are we going to start, and Moni's conversation about Erica Mena, when are we going to start having a conversation about what she did that was preventable?
But the minute we start is, hello, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yeah, I said the minute we start having that conversation, then we're woman bashing, or we ganging up on women, and it's not even that. It's just pointing out
Can
that
I stop you there?
Brickface played a part in what happened to her.
Wait a minute. You're gonna make me use my baritone voice. Wait. Can we keep the main thing? Because we can't keep using the argument, women don't listen. Because it's probably not a good example, being that the lady didn't listen, that took the alcohol. But let's have a really good conversation without saying, oh, women don't listen to men, brick face, the man on the moon, the mustard of people.
Look, I said that she should have just took the charge, meaning just get arrested, go bond out, whatever it is, instead of trying to drive off. That would have been her taking responsibility. It wouldn't have been pleasant, but she'd be alive, and that's what all of us ultimately want with any of these interactions with police. And I've said it before: if you get stopped, already have your license, insurance, registration, whatever you got. Already have it out, so by the time they get to the window, just hand it to them. They'll leave you alone. They go into what they've been trained to do. They're really dumb. They really are. They just lock in. So,
but again, let's keep the main thing. That wasn't the case here. Does it look like that lady was trying to say, "Oh, here, I just took about $500 or so of alcohol, but what do you want? Oh, you want my license and my insurance? Okay, here you go." Does it look like that lady was trying to do any of that?
No, but and if they weren't already there, the cops really should have pulled their vehicle in front of her. Then she wouldn't have pulled off. Then he wouldn't have had to stand there.
I get it. And listen, I'm not no police officer. I'm not. I probably couldn't tell you 10 things that it requires to be one. They could have pulled their car in front of her. They could have got the ghetto bird on it. They could have did a whole lot of things. I'm just saying, they could have did a whole lot of things. What could she have done?
Not stolen the alcohol.
Even after she stole the alcohol, because people steal, right? I don't.
Be better at stealing.
Huh?
I said be better at stealing. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Come on.
But, okay, you joking, hardy. Okay, so after she stole the alcohol, her and her homegirls, they got in the car, the officer told her to stop, whatever. What could she have done?
What she was told. Cut off the car, roll down the window, step out, let me see your hands. You had the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. All that.
Yeah, you see, I have to get my groove on because finally we are on the right track. Listen, this is about Operation Save Our People, right? We save our people, and let's not go to church. Some of y'all might think I'm a heathen, and that's okay. I can live with it. but I do know the Bible, and it says what in regards to obedience. What does it say about obedience? It says a lot.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Woo-hoo, hallelujah. It says obedience is better than sacrifice, which means whether the officer is right or wrong, if he's giving you a directive, sister, obey, then handle it from the other, not the other side, like up and down, handle it from the other side of the judicial system, right? But it's like we got to stop right there. We got to have that conversation that the sister just did not do what she was supposed to do. And now we're having a conversation of whether he should or he should not have. And I personally think he should not have shot her. I don't think that even her taking off, but I'm not an officer. And like I said, please don't make me defend police officers. I'm not trying to do that. But I think if we had the conversation about what her options were, because for me, if I'm pregnant and I'm about to have a child in November, which means she's very pregnant, we can see that she was, right? She has 2 other children. My ideology would have been, all right, I want to arrive alive. I want to be here to raise my 3, children and all of that. I'm going to take this ass whooping for stealing this, not ass whooping physically, but, part of the system for stealing. And then I'm going to go on to be a better person. That would have been my ideology, but maybe I'm a Martian or something. I don't know.
Well, like I said, she both of them had options. I'm not defending the officer, and I'm not defending her in the sense of she should not have obeyed. She should have obeyed, but if she's not obeying in other situations when she's told what to do, they could have led to her just saying, you know what, I'm going to drive out the hell with it, and that wasn't smart. And now we have 2 children in our community that don't have their mother here, and that's the saddest part.
And what's even more sad is that they'll know the story of why their mama is not here. They'll hear the story of my mama, was in a shootout, or not a shootout, but she was, what she was doing and what happened. They'll hear that story, and that's really sad. But I want to address this, and I'm going to catch up to these comments. Pamela said,
that's what's up. I'm back to the comments. Y'all be good.
All right, thank you. Pamela, you say y'all must haven't seen these illegal aliens are committing crimes and not being shot. But again, y'all better know what you're supposed to know around here. They are making the system for them. They are becoming the new you. They are the buffer class. They are setting them up to replace Black people. So they're not going to do that to them, because they also know if they do that to them, their people are going to march to the streets. The Democrats and everybody else are going to march to the streets, and they're probably going to get a hate crime bill and all that other stuff. So again, even though they don't belong here, the system is designed to protect them more than it is to protect us. We got to know that. And Kimmy, you say,
can I ask you a quick question, Dimitri?
Sure.
Has an illegal immigrant, a Latino, Hispanic, Mexican person ever taken a job?
You say, have they ever taken my job?
Yeah. So I mean, because I hear this from my my white friends all the time. Is the illegal immigrants are coming to take your job. So I'm just wondering, has a Mexican or illegal immigrant, somebody that came across the border, ever taken your job?
I'm going to say, for me specifically, I can't say that one has. I can't say that definitively that that's the case. So I cannot say that.
Okay, so do you know that there are more illegal Canadians in this country than there are illegal Hispanic, Mexican, or Latino people?
You said, okay, there are more illegal what?
Canadians. It's more people that are Canadian born that are illegal in our country than there are Hispanic. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, but you're saying that it is?
Yes, it is. So, and my thing is, as a Black American, I have never had a Mexican or somebody that came across the border taking any kind of job away from me as an American. If it's people always say this. They're making things bad on us as a race, and they're taking your jobs and things of that nature. They're not taking the jobs that most black people do. I have a lot of people, even illegals, that work for and with me on some of my projects, and they're not taking jobs from people that want to do said jobs. They're taking the jobs where they can, like they're standing in front of Home Depot. They don't have a job. You see what I mean? So they're not taking jobs from somebody who has an actual citizenship birthright in our country. I just think it's sad that people think that they do that or even could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that argument before, and I don't think that's necessarily what it's about now. I think it's about them coming to actually not just jobs per se, because I'm not standing at no Home Depot. I don't care, or picking nothing in no fields. But I think it's more about everything else in regards to voting and stuff like that. So, but I do hear what you're saying because I have heard this. Let me get this comment. Just me. You say y'all know damn well a white woman would get sympathy. This lack of, you says, it's sad. There's no argument with us there. We know that. What we need to know that when we are dealing with the system, that we are not white and we do not benefit from white privilege. We don't. So I agree. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Common Man says, not steal stuff. I think do not steal stuff. Yeah, that's part of it. Donovan says an arrest doesn't mean that you are guilty. It's an accusation, and you clear it up in court. Absolutely, you at least try to get there. Absolutely, metamorphosis. Comply, you might stay alive. Michelle, you say no. They always trying to intimidate upon contact. You do know their targets while target practicing are pictures of black people. Yeah, I mean, one thing I know is how the system works, which is why. I try not to get up in it, and I try not to. I try to minimize as much of it on my end as I can. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not oblivious to what the police are doing to black people. We know that the police is that due to slavery and what they were doing to us back then. So I don't think anybody black in America should be in the dark about police officers in them. Only Pamela Wade says they don't have to read you your rights. They change it. You're right. And even if they do, it's like that doesn't matter too much to us, right? I mean, to us it do, but in regards to them and us, not so much.
Yeah, but they never had to read you your rights because back in the day, that if they didn't read your rights and you confessed the whole thing, they couldn't use that against you because you weren't read your rights. Now they don't have to read them at all, and they can use stuff that you say. That's why it's so important to be quiet when you get arrested.
Yeah, and Joanne, how you doing? It says just joined. Obedience is better than sacrifice. The Most High will bless you for the way you treat his daughter, black men. He didn't assign you to Becky. You choose her now. You above. I ain't gonna even go into that because I'm gonna just leave that right there because Donovan's got us on the clock here.
We can go over a little bit. I'll give you guys a little, like I said, we got the preliminaries, we got the girls kicking high and everything like that. Because
okay, brother, you tell us, okay?
Yes.
You tell us.
I don't want to deprive America of America's team. You know what I mean?
None your business. You say it's one thing to not like Popo, but we still have to be smart when we interact with them. Yeah, I know. In the comment sections of many social media, we run around thinking we, Annie Oakley and Billy Badass, and the police come, we gonna, have a real shoot 'em up and all that. It sounds good on Facebook, but when it really comes down to real life, it's like just do what you got to do. Not necessarily even. I'll change the wording. Don't do what you're supposed to do. Just do what you gotta do to survive the encounter. I would tell you, as a black woman, when I'm pulled over by the police, which is rare, it hasn't happened in a while, knock on wood, I am very nervous when they get behind my car. Because for one, I'm like, why are you stopping me? As far as I know, all my, car is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And, my tags is good, insurance, like I got out. So what are we doing here? And especially if I knew I wasn't driving erratically. So I'm afraid. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna make no sudden moves. That's what's going through my head. I ain't gonna be like, why you stop me? No, I'm gonna take all of the rah-rah out of my voice. That's just me, though. I can't tell y'all what to do. Dimple Face, you said, David Ware in Oklahoma was talked to for 20 minutes, telling him to get out of the car. Will spray you. Mace Sergeant is dead because of their stupidity. Not familiar with that case. Also, forgive me for that. Nanya says, them aliens ain't Negroes. Yeah, Buckhorse, tell them stay focused. Pamela says, well, if that's the case, they'll get shot at then. I'm sorry, I don't know what that's in regards to. Yeah, Fly Guy, how you doing? He says, oh my God, let's stay on topic. Yes. Angelina Rogers, how you doing? He says, hello, Demetra, the recovering Democrat in chat. In my opinion, if she was stealing liquor, she has a horrible legal addiction. Yeah, she might. She might be addicted, but I don't know. I guess she could be a pregnant woman that's suffers from alcoholism. Could be the case, right?
Well, she could be a city girl, just doing the city girl thing. Don't matter if you're pregnant. Wait, what was that girl that had the video with the pregnant girls in it? Glorilla?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, she could be she could be a city girl. I don't know.
Yeah. Michelle says, then the system doesn't belong here, period. Yeah, but this ain't our system. The system was never, ever designed to benefit Black people. Never, not one time in American history has it been designed to benefit you as a Black person. I know they tell you that the Constitution applies to you and you have certain rights. No, the Constitution was made so that they can be on top, not you. And let's see here. Kid Greboy says, I need a source on that illegal Canadian claim. Easy says, a lot of Canadians have dual citizenship. Okay, so I'm really terribly behind. So let me catch up. Gerard, how you doing? Says the race soldiers are looking for any reason to take us out. How does she not know that? Maybe if she got out the car when they asked, she would have just got arrested. Yeah, and I should say that she was only 21 as well. I'm not saying that has a bearing on it, but she was 21. Tracy says, for the immigrants can't take a job that requires education and speaking fluently. All right. I'm getting to it, Moni. I'm getting to it. Metamorphosis, he says, they told my job, but I've seen it happen. They never told my job, but I've seen it happen to other brothers. Talking about in regards to them taking jobs. Okay. Just kind of going down. And Malia's diary, how you doing? Tito, what's going on with you? Malia says some companies hire illegals to save money. Yeah, and they're still doing that, and they're not supposed to be doing that. And Rain says the IRS should visit this person talking. Y'all down for calling the system on people, huh? None of your business says apparently some of our people forget how they are hated. Yeah. King of Sorrow says I have to take 23 tests a year for my job. Damn. The migrants don't want that action. Yeah, I don't want that action. Let's see here. Just kind of skipping down. JBWR says, honestly, guys, immigrants could go after unskilled work. So don't be fooled into the propaganda of everyone is going to lose their jobs. Yeah, that's what I said. That's not all of it. It's some of it, but not, the total story. Fly Guy says, same here. I drive legit. However, I get nervous as well when 12 is behind me. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true for most Black people. Like, oh my God, is this it? I'll tell y'all a funny story in just a second. I want to get these comments down. Dimple Face says, I'm just saying, David Ware was a white man, didn't get shot, but David killed a white officer. They were not in fear of their lives. Well, they're not going to fear somebody that look like them. They're not. I mean, I think that's kind of common sense, And Moni says, I would never defend an officer that done this, but at the same time, Demetra, you fail to respect what the Bible says. I don't know if it's because you don't believe in the Bible, God's word, never avoid it. I'm not quite sure what that comment is about. I don't go to church. I do believe in God. I am familiar with the Bible. I think there's a lot of great things and words of wisdom in there. But as far as respecting what the Bible says, if I don't adhere to Christianity or anything that adheres to the Bible, how can I not respect it? I'm not going out of my way to disrespect it. So, and Moni, I love you. But this is why I say this a lot. It's partially why I don't belong to a religion, because I'm not trying to be held to all these very austere, you disrespecting the Bible and this, that. Listen, I got enough stressors in my life as it is. And when I was in church, yeah, I was pretty stressed out. Like, damn, and the ground won't swallow me and swallow me whole. Like, what are we doing here? So, you know what? The metamorphosis, you crazy, Henny, and the Plan B and the stupid parties. I know exactly what you're talking about. Tab, where'd he go? I'm getting to it, y'all. Tab Gamble, how you doing? Says the system was not designed for black people. Period. Nope, not at all. And Common Man says that's why we should worry about what we shouldn't worry about what they do. We should only worry about what we do. Yes. And Will, he says allocating funds to provide mental health assistance rather than RoboCop for every occasion. Yeah, that also would be helpful, because a lot of times when people talk about defunding the police, it's not necessarily that you want the police to go away. You just want some of those funds that they get to be allocated to things like mental health assistance, because every call does not require an officer. We've heard of a copious amount of cases where people, and specifically our people, have been murdered when they just needed somebody to talk to because they were having a mental health crisis. So the policing just needs to kind of be redesigned. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. Pamela says she was probably afraid, and she would be correct, because them demonic demons have no issue harming us. But Pamela, can I ask you a question? Was she afraid when she was stealing alcohol? Was she afraid then? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to tell the whole story. Can't say that she was afraid of the cops, but you're doing things that had the cops on your ass. You know what I mean? Let's be honest here in our assessment of things. Donovan, you got a lot going on there. Cat's butt all up in your face and stuff. I was gonna say something else, but I'm gonna behave myself. Tracy, he says the only jobs we could take is construction and nanny work for the most part, other that they can take. I'm sorry, the only jobs they could take. And Joanne says the saddest thing is the system has actually designed and placed your woman in this. What do you do? Do as a defeated person and throw under the bus, but not you, who he also is a victim. And I'm sorry, I don't know what your comment is in regards to. Tracy says the reason I won't drive anymore is because of police. Yeah, a lot of people just are very afraid to do that. All right, skipping down. Beverly White, how you doing? It says the illegals have taken over the construction jobs that more black men could have. It's true. Herbert, how you doing? He says,
I put in the post answering her, asking her, who are bringing these people over here? Is it a Democratic party, or is it the Republican Party? But yet 80-something, 90-something, 6% of black people vote Democrats. See, it's like we're voting for our own demise. You know, I'm not saying that's the only reason you shouldn't vote for a Democrat, but I'm just saying, if you look at what's going on, the Democratic Party is so against black people pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps, by bringing in these people who are taking maybe even entry-level jobs, you know, to get people started to go where they got to go. So, you know, I always ask the question, you know, are you a Democrat, or are you a Republican, or are you independent? Because if you're a Democrat and you're saying, and you see that there's a problem and you're still voting Democrat, the problem might be you.
I totally agree. Facts, not feelings. She says, Demetra, I love you, and I love you too. Says, but we cannot make it normal for racist pigs to use life circumstances to delete blacks. This is terrorism. And once again, I have never said that they should be able to do that. And I have been very clear and demonstrative, and I've said that before, that I do not think they should have shot her. But again, I think we need to give more conversation, just as much, I would say, conversation to her choosing not to comply as much as we're giving to what ultimately happened to her. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's saying that anybody's trying to normalize that, but I'm sorry, you know, we just really need to rethink some of the things that we do as black people. We just have to, because had she been privy to the conversation that we're having now, maybe she would have made a different decision. But if she's privy to the conversation, let's say, she's a fly on the wall and she's still here. She's privy to the conversation of us saying, oh, well, no matter what you do, cops shouldn't be doing this. And no matter what you do, cops shouldn't be doing that. And she's thinking, yeah, okay. But if she was privy to the conversation of, once you make a choice to steal, and then you get in the car and you take off, then you have to deal with the consequences. Because those are the stories that we should be telling. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let's see here. Buckhorse, you say what happened? Okay, so quick story, and I'm supposed to be talking about Erica Mina or somebody, and Lord, I'm gonna give it my best shot. On the way back from Japan, right? So Donovan and I and my daughter, we flew back from Japan, whatever, and I had to stay in California for a day, so I can get back home. Now, y'all know I'm a frequent flyer of Spirit. Okay, I am. So I was asleep for the most part throughout the whole time. It's like 3-hour ride home from California to Texas. And the pilot comes on. It's like, okay, everybody put your seats up and you do this. Okay, yeah. We go through all this time.
Wait, real quick. The seats up. The seats stay like this.
Not the seats, but the table and all that other stuff. Like, get prepared to land.
Like this the whole time.
Yeah, So get prepared to land. And all of a sudden, we're going through this turbulence. Now, turbulence, and is normal on the airplanes, right? But wait a minute now, not this kind of turbulence. Let me tell y'all, the turbulence was so bad where the airline attendant said, oh, shit. And he runs to his seat. They all run to their seat. So the plane is shaking. And then the plane starts free falling, goes, shh. And at that point, I lost it. It was me and, probably 5 other people screaming on the plane. So then, okay, it stops dropping. And then it starts shaking again. And then it starts free falling again. And I'm sitting next to my daughter. And she gets me by the mouth and she's calling my mouth. And it does it again. And I'm just like, Allah, I know you didn't bring me this far to have me go out like this. When I tell you, I was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to leave here. I can't believe it. Then, of course, the plane stabilized. But when I tell you, I damn near kissed the ground, the filthy, dirty ground of the George Bush International Airport when we landed. That was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me that I can think of.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up, how the airplane fell. Now,
it was like dropping.
It drops. And see, what happens is turbulence is actually airspace that's just dead. It's dead airspace. And so the plane, there's no lift, so the plane drops. So it's like a roller coaster, it just immediately drops. You could drop 1,000 feet in seconds because of a lot of stuff like that. A lot of people don't know that. So when you experience turbulence, the plane is going through air that is stagnant. There's nothing going on in that air.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my face. And then some. I mean, I was just like, I don't care. I'm not saving face. Forget these kids. I'm not trying to be brave for these kids. And there was another airline stewardess. Like, she doesn't see how she was working. She was just on the plane, and she looked over at me. She goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Do I look okay? We almost died here."
You are safer in a plane than you are in a car. I mean, but then again, wait a minute. You are on Spirit, so I'm not exactly sure.
I'm telling you, I've been having nightmares about it. I mean, y'all been on a roller coaster when it just goes. And it did it 3 times. I was like, this mother is going to fall out the sky. Ain't no water here in Houston. So it's like, I try to play it all out. Like if I'm in California or over a large body of water, okay, maybe we going to make a nose dive, like on the Hudson where they did, or that movie and all that. We're going to do this heroic thing and they're going to deflate the things and we're going to come off of it and, swim into the water and not get eaten by a shark or something. But I was like, ain't no water down there. This ain't gonna be good, but it turned out okay. Yeah, fly guy. He says, I'm glad you and your daughter are still here. That's wow. Yeah, it was. I've never had nothing like that happen to me in my life. Joanne says, the more you vote in the system, the more you are imprisoned by your own vote, which to them, agreement and love their BS. Yeah, what is dead air, Donovan?
Dead air is like, I kind of give the definition. Dead air is that air that's not moving. It's not moving. So like you have a bunch of air that's moving constantly. In between that, there's air that isn't moving. And that's the dead air space. So if you're flying at 27,000 feet and for some reason, for about a mile, there's like dead space. The air is not moving in that space and the plane just comes flying down and you just lose lift. Your wings give you the lift. If you don't have the lift, the plane's going to fall.
Metamorphosis, yes, it was exactly like Superman ride at Magic Mountain. Or yeah, where it just was like it just dropped, and I was like, oh hell to the no. I'm not going out like this. I got stuff I need to be doing. You know, plus my daughter was with me.
Stop flying Spirit Airlines.
Something. My daughter was there, but she was like, if you don't knock it off, I'm like, not you covering my mouth. I was really scared. Yes, common man, that's important that I am back. Okay, so Dwight, how you doing? He says you got red wine, grilling, and Korean chocolate sticks. Where are you? Well, that sounds very good. I'm in the States, not in Tokyo anymore. Guess we'll probably talk about that just a little. It was a very eye-opening experience. Pamela says, why do people say you're safer in an airplane than you are in a car? Because statistically speaking, there's more car accidents than there are air crashes.
Right. And there's more cars on the road than there are airplanes in the air. So statistically, it's safer by the numbers. It's safer.
And y'all, I don't like to fly. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't like to fly. I hate it with all my heart. I hate to fly, especially the taking off part. I hate it, right? But once I'm in the air, I'm all right. But that right there, I was like, nah, I remember why I don't like to fly. That right there.
Now, I want you to think about that. And you were in a fairly big aircraft. Just think if you're in a Cessna 172. And I was flying a couple months back, even on my flight simulator, I fly. And I was flying by the mountain over there by San Bernardino. And they have the gush. I had the air thing come down on me. I'm fighting the whole way just to keep the rudder to turn the aircraft because the wind is flying against me. So a big airplane is one thing, but get into a small airplane and experience that same dead force. It's like, pow.
Yes, indeed. And Turner, Ira, walaikum salam to you as well. And the panel says, who comes up with the statistics? Well, that's a very loaded question.
Well, yeah, the statistics, you can go to the transportation department website. It has the statistics there versus crashes versus everything that you would think of to make it. You can go there. The statistics are posted.
Marty says,
crashes, all of that. It's all posted there.
Marty says, I understand, Demetri Donovan, many churches is not of God. If you were listening to Pastor Gino Jennings teaching, it's well straight to the point with no money grabs, but you will obey what the word of God says. I actually listen to quite a few pastors, but I have the ability to listen carefully. I don't ingest everything people tell me. I think about what they're saying. I actually listened to quite a few pastors. Joel Osteen is one of the pastors that I really like. I do. I mean, he is very inspirational, I like his messages, especially during the time I was really kind of going through something. I would listen to him every day. And, you know, it seemed to serve the purpose. So I listen to a lot of people. I really do. Damon says, hey, a landing is called a controlled crash. That's a good point. And Tracy says, Demetri, in my 57 years, I've only flown 3 times. Don't care for it. Hello, Rick. How you doing? And miraculous.
Real quick, Tracy, the good thing is Demetri's niece is working on teleportation as we speak. So there's going to be coming day like Star Trek, and you're going to go into a little tube. You'll be in Africa. You'll be in Paris. You'll be just within seconds, kind of like a fax machine thing. I told her, you can already do it. A fax machine is basically a teleporter. The problem is what they've got to do is just like they did with MySpace. You take MySpace and you turn it into Facebook. You improve upon it. So her niece is working on that right now as we speak.
Yeah, I'd love to get in it because there's a lot of people I need to have a conversation with. I need to get some people, rearrange their understanding. And Buckhorse, she says, my people ain't doing no boats ever again. We can fly. I was on a cruise in June. It wasn't that bad, actually. It was my first time doing it. And back to Tracy. You say you've only flown 3 times. I don't care for it. Yeah, I don't care for flying. It seems like I'm on the plane every other month. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere next month. I'm going to Florida to visit my sister. We're going to go see Tony, the reunion tour. Got to break out our old 1990s cross colors and our rayon shirts and
your Hey Little Walter outfits.
All of that, So yeah, I'm down for teleporting as well. All right, so Moni, I'm gonna oblige you. You want us to talk about Erica Mena. Now let me tell y'all something. I know I'm speaking above my head. I don't hardly know who any of these people are, but I have seen a little bit about it. So Erica Mena and Spice, they are on I Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or something like that. And they had a heated conversation with Erica Mena, who is, I don't know, she's Puerto Rican, she's Dominican. I don't know what she is. She's a Latina, nevertheless. She called Spice, who is a Jamaican black woman, I think, a monkey. And it sounds like she got put up off the show for, being racist. I don't know. I guess I gotta have to have an opinion on it now. I didn't before. I think that when you are on reality TV, people are doing things to keep their jobs. Dimpleface, you have a great evening as well. Thank you so much for being here. I think you're doing things to keep your job. I think you're saying things because, I'd imagine next season they're maybe looking at who they need to replace and who they need to bring in to keep ratings up. But the other thing is this too, because I'm sorry, y'all. I just like to think logically about some things. The other thing too is they do encourage those ladies, and I don't know, maybe the men too. I don't watch those things to fight and do the most belligerent and ignorant things possible for ratings because y'all not watching if they say, hey, also she called her a blue monkey. Well, okay. Y'all not going to watch if they say, today we're going to come up with a black agenda of how we can save the black race and what the black woman could contribute to that. It will be one person and 2 crickets watching that show. Now they know that if they get the sisters on there and they get the cat fighting and your mama this, your mama that, all that, then they know people gonna watch. So I don't know anything at all about Erica Mena. I don't, or Spice. But if you ask me, I think, they probably was all caught up in the moment and her true self came out. I think everybody knows to call somebody a monkey, especially a black person, is a very racist trope, right? They try to liken us to monkeys. And so I think she just, in the heat of the moment, said the way she felt and it cost her. And that's really all I have to add about that. I don't know, should she have been fired? I'm kind of on the fence with it. Fired, yes, because it's racist, but she rose to the level of ignorance that the show perpetuates. And now people are mad. So that's kind of where I'm confused. Wasn't she doing what they wanted to do? I don't know, because it's like you're more mad at her calling somebody a monkey than y'all are with people fighting, turning over tables and all that other stuff. I don't know. So again, I'm speaking above my head. So y'all gonna have to forgive me on that one.
I have a question on that though.
Sure.
Okay. I heard a little bit about it. We were in, I guess, Japan when all this was going down. But, and nothing against Moni and stuff or anything like that, but what does this show what does it give, to my life or to better the black community or whatever? You've got people that constantly call us the N-word, monkeys, and, even worse. Now, if you've never traveled, maybe you don't know this, but they have a word for the N-word in all over the globe, somewhere. So my question is this woman getting fired brings what to my life and whatever else?
I'm gonna wait for her to answer the question.
Can I add something on that with Donovan?
You know what? Yes, brother, because I forgot you was even here, even though I'm looking at your picture. Go ahead.
I think I agree with you, Donovan. It's really sad. It's not Demetra, but how our women are influenced by these TV shows, how they want to watch these TV shows, how they want to dress like the ladies on these TV shows. And, they don't understand that these people are getting paid to portray something and it's not real life, but they try to bring that clown behavior into the real world. And it's sad that our women are the ones that, if nobody was watching it, just like Demetra said, if none of our ladies was watching it, it wouldn't be on the TV. And it is clearly watched by the ladies in our community. That's it.
I mean, I don't know. This must be a historical event here. I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's twice today. Wow. That I've agreed with you, Black America. I mean, I totally get it. I mean, there's a lot of people who sit up and watch that. I personally, I don't mind mindless entertainment every once in a while, but I'm not going to be watching that mess because, and as someone said, Tab, you said it. They could have edited that out, but they didn't because, like she said, that's how they really feel, and they left it in for sensationalism. Here it is. What I don't know when it happened, but people are still talking about it. And I'm like, is any of that stuff even real? It's like my grandmother. She would watch all the soap operas, and when my grandfather would return home from work, they'd sit at the little table, in the kitchen or whatever, and she's telling them all about what happened on The Young and the Restless, as if she knew these people, and he just. I don't know if he was, interested, but he'd be like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And she's just like, she knew these people. And I thought it was so bizarre. But that's kind of how I see this. Like, people are having these conversations like they know these people. I'm like, probably most of that stuff is scripted, I would imagine. Maybe
right.
not that.
And isn't that a show owned by a Black woman or executive produced by a Black woman or something?
So.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah, I just don't understand the relevance of how that's going to get us qualified immunity. How is that going to get us to stop shooting and killing by police? How is it going to get us reparations? How is it going to, you know what I mean? I mean, we already know these people. This is what they subconsciously think about. They're not going to say it to you in your face, but that's what they think about us. I mean, because that's the image America portrays to the globe. We're gangsters. I mean, come on, you guys. Last year alone, there was over four major bank robbery movies that Black people were involved in, in the movie. And it was our way of escaping our hood. And we're shooting this. We've got Power. We've got these movies that show us as violent, depicted gangsters and hood rats. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just, I just think that there's more important things we need to focus on than to worry about some little Latina whatever chick calling somebody. I mean, okay, I'm going to fess up, and Demetra knows this is true. When I see a Black woman with blonde hair, I call her a Morlock. How many of you guys seen The Time Machine? I call her a Morlock because that's what I think. So, I just don't get it.
I want to say this. I know why they make those shows. It's about money at the end of the day. Now, if somebody said, I'm going to make a movie about Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman or something like that, I'm telling you, it wouldn't be nobody up in it. That movie would go belly up. People would lose their jobs. They never work again in Hollywood, right? They just would not. But, if somebody says we're making a movie, like, okay, let's just keep it a buck. They're making a documentary about Freaknik, right? Now, y'all know everybody and their mama and their mama's mama, because their mama's mama was there at Freaknik, they gonna watch it. But we're not interested in watching anything that's truly helpful to the community. Birth of a Nation by Nate Parker is a great example. That movie tanked due in part to a lot of sisters, let's just keep it a buck, jumping in bed with the white woman that, accused him of doing something to her that he was acquitted of. But even still, that was a movie we should have saw. But we just didn't go show up for that. But let some foolishness go forward. We're going to be all in. So that's why some of that is on us. If we start to shun that kind of stuff and say, you know what? I ain't watching that. We good. Then they'll say, okay, We tested that out in the black television market, and it doesn't really work. So let's give them something else. I guarantee you, because I heard a while back, years ago, that I think it was Ice Cube that was thinking about producing a movie about Marcus Garvey. Ain't nobody gonna go see that. I would, but ain't nobody gonna go see nothing about no Marcus Garvey, you know. But if they made a movie about Iceberg Slim, it'd be all kind of people. And I happen to be well versed on both of them. But there would be all kind of people in there to go see that Iceberg Slim was a pimp. But so yeah, some of that is on us. And Moni, you say, I strongly suggest, Demetra, while you are laughing and joking, that you get baptized and accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, so that if you leave this earth, you do not have to face a living hell. But Moni, I'm gonna ask you once again, because I've asked you so many times, but you don't never answer. I'm asking, and listen, I'm not trying to be funny, because if there's a hell below, I do not want to go. But how do you know? How do you know I'm going to be living in hell? And as I always say this, and I thought this for a very long time, is it possible for Black people to go to hell? Like, is there anything worse than what we've endured here in this country than hell? I mean, like, what could be worse? Hell might be a vacation for Black people. So I just fail to believe that there's a God somewhere in the sky among us or wherever that would send us to hell, even though we've endured so much hell here. And so, again, as in that Bible that I'm assuming that you read, it says you should worry about your own salvation. Don't worry about mine. I know they got y'all out there knocking on doors and, you know, trying to save people and all that other stuff. But it also says worry about the log in your eye and not the splinter in mine. So, but I thank you for your concern. I think I'm gonna be all right. If not, I'll let you know as best I can. Maybe I'll come back. Ooh, it's hot, Moni. It's hot down here. I don't know. No, that was wrong.
Right. Well, only Pamela's Way says, Donovan Sadiq, how is sports going to get us any of that either? That's a great question, right? Here's the answer, and I put the answer in the chat. The answer is this: because of sports, Black people are making millions of dollars that would never make millions of dollars. Michael Jordan has his company, whatever. Now, because of sports, college athletes can now benefit off their images being used. So now, you know, it's creating businesses. LeBron James, he's going down to his homies and hiring them and all this other stuff. So unlike this brainless TV shows that we're seeing, this sports does create an economic way for Black people to rise up and get out of their situations. And now, because of sports, the NCAA was making billions of dollars off of these student athletes. And now you could be a student athlete in college. And let's say, you know, right now you're only making $2 million and you get drafted in the NFL or in NBA and you never make it, right? You just don't make it. You get cut, whatever. You still got $1 million in the bank as you go overseas. So it's opening up opportunities for young people to make money and to, you know, do their thing.
I think I get what she's saying, and I will. You're absolutely right. It says media feeds it with the red meat, and he said to the base they regularly use. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's red meat to keep people. Like you feed red meat to a dog, they're gonna be hungry for it. They're gonna come back for more, and it gets them fired up and all of that. So yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. But I get where where Pamela was going with the sports analogy. I think she was saying it's, in her opinion, and I don't want to mess up what you're saying. It's the equivalent of mindless entertainment, I guess, if you will. Because I guess Black America, I think you were saying that Black women watch it. And I think maybe she's saying, well, men watch sports. So what are you getting out of that? Because Donovan, in that same vein, one can argue that Erica and all these other blue, the Spice, that they're getting a paycheck as well.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
Yeah, so men actually build the world and keep it running. So football is one day a week, and we don't get to watch it mindlessly. We get to relax, maybe drink a Sprite for a couple of hours, one day a week. I mean, you know, how many hours out of the week are we doing and keeping the world moving? Can we have at least a couple of hours out of one day? See, it's comments like that, Demetra. I told you before a few months back, and Donovan might remember. I told him, and this show today actually has shown me. I said the longer you're in this space and doing these shows, you're going to get more red pill. You remember that, Donovan, when I told her that? I told you that for a reason. Today, it doesn't matter what happened to the girl. Today, you are holding that woman accountable for her actions and not exactly, you do care. We all care what happened to her. It's sad what happened to her. She's leaving behind 2 children. But you actually can see the foolishness. It's like the video you made the other day, and I said I approved this message. It, you're starting to actually see the foolishness of what some of these women are doing. And they're going to come for you, sister.
And you know what? I that's 3. I agree with you. And as I always say to you and Donovan, I say, as y'all can see, I'm a black woman. I'm a very black woman. Okay. Y'all can't tell me about, I know black women be acting a fool. I know. Okay. I went to Walmart the other day and I keep saying I'm gonna stop going, but I went. And I don't know if this lady was black. She might have been, she might not have been, but I should bring my daughter in here to co-sign what I'm about to say, because y'all gonna be like, you lying. She was in there in what looked like panties, and they were dirty. And she was there with her son, and they're shopping. And I said, and you can see the ripples and the dents. That's how thin the doggone shorts were. That's why I was like, they must be panties. And I'm like, why? What would possess you to do this? And that's just one example. So what I'm saying, Black America, is I know, I'm not, I don't ever want y'all to. But
actually calling it out is the problem. See, you supposed to be on team girl power and black sister soul magic or whatever the shit they say. You can't call it out as a black woman. If you call it out as a black woman, they're going to come for you. It's a beautiful young lady, Erica Lachey, and she calls out black women all the time, and they come for her head. She doesn't say anything wrong. She's not using too much derogatory language, but she's calling out black women. And if you're trying to hold black women accountable at all in any shape, form, or fashion, nobody has the right. There is no woman that black women will listen to, all the way from Oprah to Beyonce. For the most part, you guys won't listen. You don't have an army. It's a bunch of Donovan cats running around. They only come when it's time to get a foodie call and eat.
And again, I don't terribly disagree. Black America, what's going on here? What are we doing here? We're agreeing today.
You're starting to become red pill. I haven't changed anything. I said your mind is starting to get warped and become red pill. It's not going to be good for you. I'm a dude. I've been red pill my whole life. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say this, and Donovan, don't you lie, sucker. Donovan will tell you that how I do take black women to task. I do it here on the show, and Donovan and I in our conversations, I take black women to task. And another thing I'm gonna say, the Black America, I think you maybe can ascertain this by now. My heart don't pump no Kool-Aid. I'm not on here because I'm scary. I'm gonna say what I got to say. But I understand. I know who Erica Lachey is, and I agree. She's a very insightful young lady. I don't even know if she's 30 yet, but she's very smart. But not trying to hold our sisters accountable is not helping us. It's hurting us. There are a lot of things that we need to do better. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if I put up a video talking about a black woman, and I don't do it ever in a way that I'm tearing her down. It's from a form of correction. I'll have at least 20 sisters, for whatever reason, especially on TikTok. Mind your business. You're old. Then don't watch. And now listen, and to me it's funny. I don't have thin skin.
You're a pick me.
Yeah, all of that. But it's like I'm gonna keep saying what I got to say, because I know that, and that's why I always say, as far as us as Black women, we got the women. Okay, we need to get the women. Now y'all go get the men, because we are in each other's business and we should be trying to correct each other. I have a lot of young Black women who call me for stuff all the time. I had a really good conversation with one the other day, and I told her, for lack of better words, look at the things that you're doing. You know, it's not always the other person. And per the stuff she was telling me, she was like, I didn't think about it that way. I was holding her accountable. So I don't ever want y'all to think that I'm up here and Black women can't do no wrong and we are saints. I mean, we can be saints, but we got our issues. We got a long way to go. We know that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. And if the woman cannot accept accountability or listen, and then make some corrective measures, then our nation is not going to rise. My daughter and I was having a conversation. She was telling me, oh gosh, somewhere, I don't know if it's here in Texas, but somewhere. Oh wow, hold on a second. Deanna, come here. She was telling me a whole bunch of teachers somewhere just quit. I think it's here in Texas. They just quit. My sister's a school teacher in Florida, and they have like a 40,000 teacher deficit. Is that here where you was telling me about in Texas, where how many teachers quit? It was thousands of tens of thousands of teachers are quitting for a whole host of reasons, and a lot of that is due to the children being bad as hell. They bad. I wouldn't be no teacher today. I just wouldn't. And my sister, she is 4 years away from being a fully retired teacher with all her benefits. And every day last week, she called me and said, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. I can't do it.
I told her, stay in there, baby. Daddy's with you. Daddy's with you.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, us as women, we are the first teacher, and look what we're producing. And I'm not absolving, ladies, please. I'm not absolving the men. Y'all always hear me say there cannot be a single mama without an absentee father. But as the late, great Dr. Ava Muhammad said, that Black women are left in the home with the children more than Black men. We are still responsible for turning out a good product. We cannot continue to say that man or the father is not in the home, which is why all of my children are bad. You know what I mean? We still have a duty to raise children that are conducive to society. We cannot use them not be as helpful if the father is there. I'm not saying it's not, but that he is not. We still got to do what we got to do, because I don't know if y'all seen the news lately or anything like that. Children are running wild. It's not just our children, but we talking about our children. They're running wild. So I don't ever want anybody to think that I am to the point to where I don't hold Black women accountable. But I don't want y'all to think that I guess what I'm trying to say is the opposite of that. That I'm dogging Black women either. I'm not on that train either, because I see that there's a lot of Black women out there who, they get in the bag off of throwing Black women under the bus, and as they would say, they call them pick-me's. And I'm not on that train either. I'm like, let's have an honest conversation. And Will, you're right. Women handle women and men handle the men. And I lovingly say this a lot. There's a lot of men in women's business. And I guess y'all could say the same thing is true for women and men's business. We need to mind our own business and make it do what it do.
Right? How about just play our roles? You guys be women, let us be men. That's the end of it.
Yeah,
I don't think they believe in gender roles anymore. I think the women think they can do almost anything that a man can do.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, as a woman, I don't want to do everything a man can do. My blinds broke in the living room, and I was like, I'm gonna go on Amazon, I'm gonna order some new ones, and I'm gonna put them up. And I was like, my dad always says that we are descendants of pyramid builders. So I took the blinds down, I assessed the situation, and I fixed them. And they're like, no, I didn't want to be doing that. I would have loved to be watching a man like, oh, look at him. Oh, he's doing, wow, look at those muscles. Oh gosh, look at this, he's just handling those blinds. And I would have loved to be doing that. I didn't want to hop up on no back of no couch and get the blinds down. I didn't want to be doing all of that, but I did. There's a lot of things I don't want to do, but so I agree with you. But what we just need to learn how to also be soft as women. But I'm gonna say this, and Donovan, you give me this when it's ready for your team to do what it's gonna do. There also needs to be spaces created for women to be soft. So it's kind of like a give and take, right? Like I think a lot of more women would operate in being a little bit more on the soft side if she was in the space to do that. As I say to y'all a lot, and I know this is a loaded argument, it's just hard for a lot of Black women, especially, to be soft because they're wearing a lot of hats. And the last thing that she's thinking of is being soft, because soft is what I think a lot of women want to be. Then maybe a lot of them don't, but I know that's where I feel my best is being soft. So,
not going to disagree, but again, when you're a woman and being soft is what a woman is supposed to be. If you're talking about you changing hats, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. That's like me being a man. I can't say, well, 50-50 and this, that. I'm a man, period. I got to go do this. My role is defined for me. When I hear women talk about, well, I can't be soft, whatever. Hey, you're a woman. That's one of your main things is to be soft, is to be nurturing. That is what you're designed to do.
And if you are soft, if soft was being a woman's main thing, men would be falling at your feet. Men would be opening doors. Men would be paying your power bill and your car note and everything else. If you're a soft woman, men are going to go out of their way to make sure that you're straight. So that is the only hat it's like those really feminine, pretty girls that live off of men until they're old and gray. It's because they're soft and they speak soft and they speak nicely. And if all women were doing that, all men, once again, would be, oh, let me get that door for you. You got a box? Demetra, I would have came from Vegas to put them blinds up. Hey, Black, my blinds need to be put up. I'll be out there in a couple of days. Just let me know. Because that's what we want to do. We want to take care of soft women that are sarcastic or, even though now we done got all off the subject, but men want to take care of soft women.
And you know what? I totally agree with you, Donovan. Again, give us the red light. That was part of the conversation I was having with the young woman. She's kind of like a daughter to me. She was basically in a space where she was reminding men, even some of her friends, that I don't need you to do anything for me. I got it. And why do you want to do this, that, and the other? I said, you're going to have to come off of being masculine. I said, it's all right, even if they're your friends, your male friends, that they want to help you. I said, it doesn't always have to be a motive. I said, but you don't have a man right now. And if your male friends want to help you, I said, allow them to do that. That way, when you do get in a relationship with a man, you're already operating in the space of, oh, okay, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. That was nice of you. Instead of, I can do it. What you want to do it for? I don't need, because I said, and somebody, I can't, who was it that said this? I want to go back to this comment because I totally agree with you. And I said this to her. It says it's very difficult to make love to a masculine woman. My pastor back in the day, female pastor, she said that. She said, when a man get in the bed, he don't want to feel like he getting in the bed with another man. Now, what she was meaning is you walking around as a woman, walking tall and talking tough all day, and I ain't gonna, and you ain't gonna, and all this other stuff. Yeah, when he get in the bed, he's like, hey, how you doing, dude? But if he's watching you operate in, in a feminine space, a soft space, he like, yeah, come on, boo, let's spoon, cause we'll move on in or whatever, cause that's how he see you. But I told her, and that's what I told her. I said, you're gonna have to, stop. And I said, stop being Mrs. Tough Guy. I said that no man wants to be with Mrs. Tough Guy.
And I'm just going to add this, and I'm not like trying to tell women their business and stuff, but coming from a man, and my mother told me this. She says, my problem is I'm an alpha male. That's my problem. And I agree. I am an alpha male. I was in the military, blah, blah, blah. I'm an alpha male. But the thing is with the ladies is this. Who told you had to be so hard? Who told you all of this stuff? No, I get it because of the systematic and stuff like this. But just because, so-and-so did it this way doesn't mean it's going to work that way for you. I know so many women that are successful, doing their thing, and are married and are soft to their husbands, and even in the military, I had co-workers where the female outranked the husband. But she was still feminine. She was still soft. She didn't, they didn't change their roles. Do you see what I'm saying? And I just sit here and wonder, because it's amazing to me when I talk to a lot of women, everything is projection. Everything's projected. I've never been in an abusive relationship. Men are hard. Men are this. Men are that. But when you ask them the root cause of this, has your dad abused your mom? Did you ever see this or that? No, the question is always no. But that's their idea from watching movies, maybe reading books, all these damn talk shows in the 90s, running black men down and all this other stuff. It's like it's pre-programmed into their mind. And all I'm going to tell you, ladies, is this. Being a woman and being able to give birth is the greatest job that you were sent on this earth to do. I mean, there's other things you can do as well, but you're the first teacher. That's the greatest job. And whoever told you that being a soft woman is something that is weak and this is that is totally ridiculous. And this is one of the reasons where men and women are at the divide that they're at now. You ask most real men, they don't want no hard woman. Whenever I run across a woman that shows me any kind of male traits, that ain't the woman for me. Can't do it. Sorry.
And I see some of the ladies, saying we should, and I'm paraphrasing, basically have the other side of the conversation. And Tracy say, have anyone notice all the blame is on the woman, but still want us to be soft? I'm confused. So, and again, I hope you guys aren't getting that message from me that we are blaming the women. As y'all know, that my track record shows that that's not the case. I think that we all have work to do. But since, I guess we're just talking about the woman, and I agree with you. As I said about 5-10 minutes ago, it's easier for a woman to be soft if she's in a space to do that. It's hard to be soft if you are wearing, many hats, and being soft is probably the last thing that you're thinking about doing. And then it reads off everywhere else you go, when people just don't understand that as a woman, I got a lot of other things going on and I don't have a lot of opportunity to be soft, which is why I always advocate, for people to be in relationships. It's easier, as they say, two can go farther than one. It's just true. So.
And can I answer that real quick?
Sure.
The reason why we always key in on the woman is the key to the community. That is why. If you could fix the woman, okay, just like our enemies know, if you can destroy the woman in the community, you destroy the community. The woman is the key. She's the center of the world. You ask any man, what is the center of his life? It's either his mama or his wife. It's one or the other. That's the center of his life. So if you could key in on the woman, everything else will fall into place. So you got to start with the woman. I know it sounds like you keep coming down on the women, but that isn't what we're actually saying. What we're actually saying is the women is so exalted in every community. You go to any other community, you go to a white man and try to negate the Miss Ann. It doesn't happen, because if the white woman is seen as a thought and all this other stuff, the white man ain't gonna have that. You go to the Asian community and try to degrade their women. It ain't gonna happen. Do you see what I'm saying? So what we've got to start doing, as we already know, it's it's amazing how our women take offense. It's like they're not hearing what we're trying to say. I know it sounds like we're coming down on women, but we're not. We're saying you are the center. We have to start with you first. Then everything else falls in place. Because it might be too late for me as an alpha male to change my stripes. But guess what? The woman is the first teacher. So if we can get her, she's going to teach her children. And she's going to teach other children in the neighborhood because her nature is nurturing.
And I also want to quote the late, great Gary Wayne Monroe. We had a lot of disagreements, but I agree with him on this. Y'all can fight me if you want to, but I don't think Donovan going to give us the time to. He says, if the men will stand up, then the women will sit down. And I'm going to leave it at that's what he said. And I agree with him at Turner. You say, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said we need to be re-educated, retrained in every aspect of life. This is an absolute fact. It is true. We are so far away from the traditions of our grandparents even, right? Like I'm 52. So my grandparents, were born in, the 1919 and, early 1920s. So of course that's a long time ago. But what happens is we start teaching those principles and how to be. And, my daughter is on the phone with her only, she has a grandfather, my father, he's still here, but his mother's, her father's mother is still alive. And she had the great opportunity, to spend some time with her over the phone, and they're talking and she's giving all these life, wisdom. And I just loved it. I loved it because she's 89 years old and she's, telling my daughters things of how things should work and all that. So we just need to keep teaching those principles and re-educate and retrain ourselves. So that I do agree with. Thunder, how are you doing this fine Sunday? We are talking about everything now, but I'm so glad that you made it. Tracy says, never you, Demetra, but the men need to work on themselves too. No, that's for sure. Yes. And I'm just going to skip down to see Tracy say, I want to sit down. I'm tired. I'm with you. I want to sit down too. I want to wake up and say, it was so hard turning over in bed all night long. That was the hardest thing I'm going to do today. That's what I want to do.
Question. See,
Sure.
And this goes back to what we're talking about. When we ask you to sit down, a lot of y'all won't sit down because you want to know why. Why should I sit? You can't tell me nothing, whatever the deal is. Ask yourself, ladies, if you have a man, a good man, and he tells you to sit down, and for whatever aspect that means to sit down, and let him handle it, are you going to let him do that? That's what it comes down to. A lot of you guys say that, but when it comes down to it, it doesn't happen.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. I can only speak for me. You could talk to anybody I've been with, and they would tell you I've never had that problem with Demetra. You don't tell me what to do. I sit down when Who? Name one.
Who was that guy in third grade that told you to sit on the bench?
Are you the one that threw sand in his eyes? Him? I'm just kidding.
I think the problem is, and Donovan, I don't know if you'll agree with me or co-sign. I think the problem is women want to be able to judge what they think a good man is. I think women, you guys have a skewed view of what a man is supposed to be like. Like Demetra, you think men are supposed to be like your dad. Your dad is a one-off. Your dad is very, as far as the world goes, he's very, very few and far and in between. Like your dad, it's probably you would have to probably, it's 20 million men, it's only probably 20,000 like your dad. Your dad is not the kind of man you should even be looking forward to. Women don't know what kind of man is a man. They think they know what kind of man they want, but it has to come down to what kind of man that you actually need in your life as a woman. You guys don't get to say what a good man is.
And you know what? I guess I kind of agree. Maybe this is where we're going to have a little bit of back and forth. I get what you're saying. Maybe But I think a woman can define what a good man would look like in a relationship with her. But in that same vein, a man cannot define what it is to be a good woman. Do you agree with that?
No, a good woman only has to do two things. Good men have a large plate to do. A good woman, besides being, most men want women that are fit and things like that. Fine, but a good woman just has to be cooperative, and she also has to, be faithful. That's it. All cooperative and faithful. Men, Donovan can cook. She can cook, but if she's cooperative, can listen, doesn't over talk him and things like that, he'll be like, you know what? I'll take that bad point and make up for it somewhere. You only have to do a couple of things to land a man and to actually keep him. So being cooperative is one, and being faithful. As soon as you step out like that for a woman on a man, you pretty much lost a man.
You say if a woman steps out on a man, is that what you said?
Yes. If a woman steps out on a man, because if you're our partner and we're laying with you, we're putting all of our trust in you. Yeah, we could go have sex with 100 girls, but if you are the woman who I am giving my money, my time, all my effort, energy, and all of those things to, then you are the one that matters. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what my dad said. He said you got two women in your hands, and they're hanging over the side of the cliff. Which one do you keep? And he's the prettier one or the one, he said, no, you keep the one that you trust. You see what I mean? The one that you can trust with everything, and then you let the other one go. And that's all it is to it. If a woman is cooperative and she is faithful, true to heart to a man, she can keep that man forever.
And you know what? I actually like that analogy. A common man says that's a dog, not a woman. Black America, you're wrong, my brother. I'm gonna say this. I like that analogy, and in utopia, I guess that will work. But there's been a lot of instances where that type of woman was actually dropped off of the cliff for the other woman that he could not trust, and is not any of the things that you just described. So I guess maybe somewhat in a perfect world. That would apply, but I do like that litmus test.
No, that's what I'm saying. A lot of guys don't know the woman that they can trust, so they'll go with the one that looks pretty. You see what I mean? So it's not the woman's fault that they are the ones that they could trust. It's that the guy didn't do his due diligence, or he didn't have a co-signer and say, hey, you know what? That girl right there, she been running around with a whole bunch of people. It's not her fault that she was the one that could be trusted, and she was the one that was cooperative, and she got dropped for somebody that, had a slimmer waist or a cuter face than her.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, I got it. Ricky say women step out on good men too. Oh, absolutely. I mean, who the men stepping out with? Yeah, I know sometimes they stepping out with other men. That ain't my business though. But they stepping out with the ladies. If I that to me is a silly argument. Not saying this about you, Rick, but I do hear, oh, men cheat more, or women cheat more. It's like, well, who they cheating with? They probably cheating just the same, So I'm not under the impression at all that women aren't cheating as much, like one or two a year on the whole planet is out there cheating. Nah, that ain't the case. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here because I know Donovan is this big piece of chicken is getting cold. How are the Cowboys doing, by the way?
7-0 right now. Oh no, they missed a field goal, so it's 6-0.
So they're winning.
Yeah, they're winning. Of course.
Maybe the key is you not actually watching.
Here's the thing. Why it was a turnover. It wasn't their offense. It was a turnover, so they ran it back. So yeah.
Turner, you say, Sister Demetra, most males don't know what real men look like. So don't fret. Real men aren't sleeping around with multiple women. I tell my daughters to be aware of any man who is undisciplined. That's a word right there. I told y'all.
Real, real men are absolutely sleeping around with different women. Just look all through history and all through the Bible. King Solomon was what? The wisest man in the Bible, had a whole bunch of broads. David, the list goes on and on. It's not what the man is actually doing, is how you do it. I know we've all heard that before. You guys want men who are basically animals to be faithful. If you can find a faithful man, that's cool. He's going to be working at a 7-Eleven, or he's going to be uh plowing snow or something like that. He's going to be faithful to you, and he's going to love you with all of his heart because he has no other options. If a man is making $500,000 a year, he has a bunch of options, and it's a bunch of cats putting their tail in the face like Donovan. You see what I mean? Because
let me say this. There's a lot of men working at 7-Eleven and Amazon with the most audacity. Okay. They cheating just as much. That you can believe. But a miraculous wizard queen, let me address you. You say, after listening to this conversation, I see why things are the way they are. I'm doing my part for myself and my household. I hope everyone flapping their lips will do more for the solutions. And I totally agree with you. It's honestly going to start with us and our households. We can't save the world or go out there and try to tell somebody. And I say this a lot. Can't tell somebody else's woman what to do. You know, which is why I always take exception to people saying, "Oh, you not listening." I'm gonna listen to my man. I'm gonna listen to the men in my life, but I'm not gonna listen to some random brother off the street. Sister, I said, man, I don't know you. You might want to get away from me before you get maced or something. You know.
One more thing, Dimitri, and then I'm gonna drop down. Okay. So you love Minister Louis Farrakhan. Do you listen to him?
All the time.
So Minister Louis Farrakhan, I don't know when it was, he had something where he said, men cannot protect what they cannot control. So I listened to that little spiel that he had, and he said, guys, don't go out saying, woman, I gotta control you and this, that, and the other. But in the same breath, that's where we're at right now. If we can't control you, and protection is part of one of our big things that we do, provide, protect, things of that nature. If we can't control you, there's no reason to provide and protect for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. I'll see you guys later. I'll see y'all on Tuesday or something.
Thank you so much, bro. Be safe out there. No, I mean, I agree with that. You know, I don't think that a man can protect what he can't control. I mean, a sister's being hard-headed, she can't tell me what to do. Yeah, you know, then that ain't the woman you need to be keeping company with. No way. As my dad always says, let her knowledge take her where her knowledge is gonna take her. You can't teach her anything, you can't tell her anything, then let her go do what it do. But when she finds herself in a lurch, as they say out here, then you know she has to answer for that. But I'm always one of those people. If somebody's giving you good advice, you should, you know, listen to it and consider it. And if it's good advice, you should, you know, maybe heed it if it's better than what you're doing. But to just say, "Oh no, you don't need to tell me. I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me." That's a different story, right there. You know, so we should try our best to at least try to listen to people. You know, I'm a communication major, and I always teach about communication. And I say, believe it or not, most people think that communication is about talking. It's actually more about listening, right? We never really consider listening. I mean, it's in there in the communication model, but we don't give it enough attention. We don't give it the attention it deserves. We need to actually listen, not hear, but listen, you know, and inculcate what is being said, and then, you know, maybe act upon that. And Moni, you might like this. God, I said God, hallelujah, gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That's so you can listen more and talk less. Anybody who really knows me will know that I probably do the most talking. Donovan, I got a Spirit. I'm a frequent flyer. It's nothing for me to hop on Spirit. I got a lot of points and I got some vouchers, and I'll be there tomorrow, bucko. There's a lot of people who know me. No, I don't really do a whole lot of talking outside of here. I can talk a lot, but sometimes I don't say nothing. Sometimes I'm just in the moment, right? Because I do a lot of talking for a living. But there's a lot of times where I'm not saying much. I'm, okay. And I keep it real with you. Sometimes I'm tuning your ass out. For real? Yeah. And I don't even know what you're saying, but I'm actively listening. I'm pretending to anyway. So anyway, I thank you for that, Tracy. You say you talk but listen very well. I try to, but I appreciate that. So anyway, I love each and every one of you all. Thank you all for everything that you do, for having a conversation with us, liking, subscribing, becoming a member, your various donations. I do appreciate that, as it does, take something to run this show. So I cannot express my thanks enough. And again, if no one has told you that they love you today, hey, Asha, how you doing? I do love you, even though I've never met you, because I firmly believe that in order to help each other, our people, we have to do that in love. So we got to start there. And I also remember I was telling y'all on a previous show about my little friend here. I remember my little friend. It's an apple. He's pixelating a little bit, but y'all see it's actually my daughter's apple. She brought it. We brought it in July, like July 15th or something like that. And she drew a face on him. If y'all can see it, this apple has survived this long. It's getting a little wilted now, but it survived that long. And I was gone. We were both gone out of here to California and Japan for 11 days. The air conditioning was not on, so the house was very hot. And this mother sucker is still surviving. This is an apple. So I'm just putting him up here to ask us to really think about what we're ingesting. Because, an apple should be pretty safe, right? Now, unless you're like Donovan. Donovan got an apple orchard in his backyard. Like, for real, this Negro has apples. It's like Negro apple seed up in there, right? It's got a lot of apple tree, a lot of apples and stuff. But consider what we're eating. I'm going to see how long this little guy with the ugly face is going to survive. He may be here longer than us. I don't know.
I will tell you what, when I came back, all my apples were on the ground, because of the heat and stuff. The average apple without, messed up preservatives or whatever that stuff is, should last you untouched about 4 days. About 4 days before it starts spoiling.
He's still here. So anyway, we will see y'all on Tuesday. Donovan and I will have a podcast, and we will be back live with a conversation. So as always, we appreciate you dearly. You guys be safe out there. Will is very nice of Donovan. And I'm going to give you guys his address in case the zombie apocalypse take place. I'm going to tell y'all exactly where to go. He got apples. He's got
oranges.
plums. He's got oranges.
Wait. We were in Tokyo. I introduced you to the pear apple in Japan. And I have that in my backyard.
Yeah. I know exactly what I'm coming for. When we go down, I'm going to start making a beeline right for the pear apple. So y'all stay tuned for that information in case it goes down. I should also tell you that he is very heavily armed as well.
Yes.
But we don't care about that. Anyway, I love you guys. See you guys next time. Peace.